Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Demon Interviews, where today we'll be discussing Demon Media number 48, which will be The Dragon Prince Season 7 Dark. This is the last season for the Mystery of Erebos saga, as well as potentially being the final season of the Dragon Prince series. But before we get into all of that, much later on, I want to introduce our lovely guest here with us today.
Hello, fellow humans, human fellas. How you doing? My name is Lucas. I am a good friend of our host here, Jen. I also do minor voice acting. I stream. I cosplay. Uh, if you ever want to know what I'm streaming, just look up Spartan93 Gaming on Twitch or on YouTube. You can see all of our stuff there. I'll get it more into that at the end when we're doing sign-outs, but as of right now, I'm super excited to talk about this, Jen. This has been a good few weeks coming and a good several years of work as far as the team at Dragon Prince are going. So I mean, for it all to result in this, I'm satisfied with what I saw. And I mean, well, we're just gonna pretty much break into it and get our thoughts out on this as well. So I'm super excited to be here for it.
Super excited to have you on the show once again. So I have Bait here with me as well. You might see me playing with him a little bit. It's not quite a fidget toy, but it's my fidget toy for today. But yes, my name is Jen.
Fair enough.
Jen Period Cosplays 45 on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So, yep, that's basically it. So before we get into this, just a bit of housekeeping before we begin. Disclaimer, we do not claim anything on the show. We are merely fans reviewing the show. The Dragon Prince is a Netflix series with the creator Aaron E. Haas and Justin Richmond. We will be discussing content from the episodes, then concluding with thoughts about the season, as well as the series as a whole, and any thoughts about potentially an upcoming third arc. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, The Dragon Prince Season 7 was released on December 19th, 2024, a few months after Season 6. The events in the story take place shortly after Season 6. We see Erebos is finally out of his prison, ready to bring Eternal Night. Callum and Rayla return to the fallen Catalyst, but Ezran is not happy to see Renan. There is talk of war to bring down Erebos before the world is burned. And also little notes. So what the Dragon Prince creators do is they do like reflections, graphic novels, stuff like that. In between Season 6 and Season 7, a graphic novel was released called Dreamer's Nightmare. Little side note, I have a video on my Jen Mouse 45 channel reviewing that graphic novel, so it just reached 100 views. Yay, thank you. So there's that one. I'll talk more about that later on. And I feel like Puzzle House came out, I believe, towards the end of 2023, and you might have needed to read that beforehand, so that way this season made a bit more sense. So it was a pretty good graphic novel. Alright, so we got all the stuff done and out of the way with. Let's go ahead and dive into the first episode, which chapter 1 is called Death Alive. I know, even just
that title just gave me chills when I read it. Ooh.
So much.
Ooh.
Alright, let's see. Death Alive. So the scene opens with Cosmo reciting a short verse. Death alive, in darkness thrives. They wither and writhe in sun's true light, but the fallen one brings eternal night. Astrid breaks him from his enlightenment, saying he was reciting a scary poem. He says whatever is coming, he says that the fallen one has returned. Astrid says they have to do something, but Cosmo says they can't, they won't, because they don't know. It then cuts to Erebos with Claudia and Terry saying the same thing, like they don't know, meaning that the dragons and elves don't know their own arrogance and how hard they will fall. Erebos confirms that Viren is dead, but he was caught in the in-between with great trauma. There's like unfinished business. So, in between is where you go if you have unfinished, unresolved business. You're not quite dead, but you're not alive. So it's this whole thing. Terry tries to convince Claudia that Viren is gone for good and that they should grieve, but Claudia says that they need to check to see if her father's still alive. Erebos presents her with a staff from both Viren's and the Sun staff, so at that point she had two separate staffs, but he just combines them into one because he's magical. They would need
Magic, don't ask.
Magic. It's a dragon prince, everything's magic. So Erebos says they need a moon primal stone to be able to access the moon nexus and activate the in-between. He offers to make one, which they need a rare ingredient from where unicorns once called home, which is the Garden of Innocence. Claudia remembers she went there once as a child and had a map. They need to go to the puzzle house to get the map so they can go to the Garden of Innocence. Erebos explains that an archdragon's bite can destroy his mortal vessel, and he transforms into a large hill in the water. So they're over by the Valley of Graves. That's where it left off in season 6. So he transforms himself into like a little hill in the water behind.
May I interject on this?
You can interject.
Because this was a moment where I yelled at my screen.
Oh, jeez.
Shortly after this, when the investigation is happening with Callum and Corvus, it goes, no, that island's always been there. My side note is, Callum, are you dumb?
Callum, are you an idiot?
Callum,
yes.
How do you miss an island? But in all honesty, knowing the voice actor behind Callum and the other characters he has played, it fits very well for Callum. So I forgave it for that. But there was a moment I'm like, are you stupid? And you even kind of see that look in Corvus's face. He's like, are you serious?
I traded Callum for Soren, or even bringing Ezra with me. Like, I get
this. And this also rose a question for me, because I thought this all through the season. Is Queen Anya really an ally? Is she really like an ally in the sense of, is she actually a positive help, or is she a negative help? So that's something I tried to keep in mind the entire time. But go ahead, you may continue. I just need to interject.
Oh no, you're good. Let's see. So Erebos shrinks down into like a hill, but then he shows up on land as like a normal elf-size elf, I guess. Elf-size elf, yes. English is Englishing today.
Erebos drag race.
I know! It's like fashion. So he tries to find the perfect outfit to disguise himself. So Star Touch elves are too flashy. So, but yeah.
I loved every bit of it.
I did too. It was awesome. Let's see. We also see Athari. It's been a while since we've seen him. He was in the Silver Grove working on some weapons. And a young elf comes in and says that Runon's lotus is floating up to the top of the surface, which Athari doesn't want to believe, saying the enchantment weakened, it was something that was wrong with it, and he just accepts that Runon is gone forever. I'm going to go cry now.
Which, with your background in psychology on that is a prime example of despair leading to a loss of hope. And that, I believe, was a very good example. They didn't over-embellish it. It was very subtle, and it hit the mark. But you, of course, as the viewer who knows what's going on, are heartbroken at that scene because if only he knew. If only he knew.
The truth.
But yeah, that one hit me pretty. That one hit pretty hard on me too. So yeah.
Yeah. So now comes the lengthy part of the episode, which is meanwhile at the Moonlight Nexus. Blue Jane and Alan are checking on Runan, who is trying to leave. Like, I need to go see Athari. That's why I put his old part first. Put that part first. And then Runan's just like, I made a promise to the elf I love. I need to go check on him, make sure that he knows I'm okay. Rayla's trying to stop him, like, you need to rest, because it's going to be a journey to get there. Let's see. Runan wants to return to the Silver Grove, but Lujane and Alan tend to him while Rayla confronts a pacing Callum. Callum is worried about Katalis. Rayla tells him to go, but he is worried Rayla will go back to the Silver Grove and they won't see each other again. Rayla comforts him, saying they are stuck. They are stuck together like two adorabers cuddling on a cold day, and after Renan
Oh,
feels better, they will go to Katalis. I know, so cute.
yes. Now, here's one thing that maybe I missed where this happened.
Mhm.
Where did Massage Boy Alan come from?
Um, so at the end of season 1, in like the credit scene,
Uh-huh.
he, whenever he ran away, he went up the mountain after he was like defeated and stuff. And then
Okay.
he met human Luchain, and then he stayed there. And I believe in the first graphic novel, Beneath the Moon, something like that. The first, the Dragon Prince novel, you see more of Alan and hear more of his story in that.
Okay,
So,
okay,
yep,
okay,
yep.
okay. I'm
hmm
I'm like there had to be an explanation for. I'm like he just kind of showed up to me. I'm like,
Just
who are you?
magic, magic.
Like when she get like a human house boy? Like what the heck? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
He's
I,
adorable, and we love
it
him.
is adorable, but it's just like where'd you come from and why are you here? Yeah.
No, you're good.
Yeah, my interjection.
You're fine. Let's see. So then Callum leaves the Moon Nexus to go back to Katalis. He arrives at a fallen Katalis, looking around at the rubble he once called home. He is greeted by Soren, who said he protected the home, but there was nothing he could do, and explains what happened. The two wait, and Ezran, Queen Anya, and Corvus and Zim arrive. Ezran looks at the fallen castle and wonders what happened. Callum gives him a hug. Later on, Soren finds the throne. Ezran goes and sits on the throne, thanking Soren for getting it. Soren explains what happened to the group. Ezran wants Sol Regum to destroy. Ezran wants to destroy Sol Regum, and Soren says that the last time he was seen was in the Valley of Graves, and Callum and Corvus go there to look for Sol Regum. However, when they get there, they see the dragon's bones. Corvus notices the island that was not there before. That's when they have their whole little dialogue.
Though, if I may
Yeah,
just backtrack slightly, this is
sure.
the first true psychological break you
Mm.
see with Ezran.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 100%.
I mean, yes, he's mourned the loss of his father. He's learned to overcome differences and find forgiveness with Zubeia and all that. But this is what a lot of people were waiting for, to actually see where Ezran's breaking point was.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I wouldn't say he's gone over the edge, but he is at the precipice of where he
Mm-hmm.
could either turn back or keep going forward. And it's another one of just those slight heartbreak scenes that you're like, he doesn't want to think like this, but he is. And
Mm-hmm.
as you're probably getting to next, we see that it ends up kind of snowballing into his reactions with everything that happens
Mm-hmm.
in the next few episodes, I believe. So,
Oh,
that's my interjection on that one.
Jackson.
So,
Yeah. He's like in shock. His home's been
yes,
destroyed, and now he's very much
everyone,
into justice. Like I think that's one of his
yeah,
values is justice. So he's
yeah,
just like mad
yes,
at
and
everything.
he is very reactive at the
Mm-hmm.
moment.
He's still a child though.
Of
It's like
course, and that's the
yeah.
thing is young mind is really going to react more emotionally, even if they are originally very logically minded. There's always that point where it's like, I just can't take it anymore. It seems easier just to be
Mm-hmm.
mad and
Yeah.
lash out than just calmly approach this,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel better when I get it all out. So, yeah, but
Very true.
anywho.
Very true.
And back to you, Jen.
And back to like the news anchor thing all over
I
again.
know, it never ends.
No. Let me see. So Corvus and Callum are at the Valley of Graves. They see Sol Regan's bones. They're like, well, came this way for nothing. They see the island. But the conversation is interrupted by an old man who needed help, saying he wanted to see the dragon who killed his family, especially his daughter. The man offers an outfall to Callum for his kindness, and Corvus says that Callum never told the old man his name. The man says everyone knew of the High Mage of Katalis, and Corvus says for the old man to keep the apple. And when he turns around, the apple falls from the man's hand and it turns to rot. Callum and Corvus talk to Ezran about finding Sol Regum. They then make camp in Katalis for the night and the next day decide to go to the Bantha Lodge. Later that night, Rayla arrives at Katalis and Soren greets her. Runan was walking around and Ezran sees him. He gets angry at the sight of Renan, saying all this started because of him. Ezran orders Soren to arrest Renan. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Astrid and Cosmo explain the predictions, and Astrid says they have to tell the mage and the warrior, but the elder forbids it, saying it is not their place in culture as celestial elves. The elder explains that they are watchers and know what goes on because they promised years ago that they would not interfere. Astrid storms off, saying she never made such a promise. Later on, Cosmo finds Astrid at the top of the star scraper. She tells them she needed to do something and takes off the blindfold and looks into the sun. She is able...
literal eye-opening moment.
Yes.
Literal.
She is able to withstand the sunlight, and after Cosmo tells her everything he knows and has seen, she is then able to fly off to warn the others of what is about to come. And scene.
Yes. So, just key notes on here. You do see that Runan does not fight Ezran's claim. He's kind of taken aback, but he does not say, I don't see that this is necessary. He's like, yeah, okay, arrest me, pretty much. Of course, my notes here say in episode 1, Terry is Bean.
Cinnamon roll.
You will hear that a lot here, folks. Terry is Bean. This episode kind of made me think Erebos could be sympathized with, in a sense, but it's also like thinking in 4-dimensional chess. You could see, yes, his daughter was pretty much obliterated in front of him. And being a father myself would be devastating. But do I agree with his methods? Not really. When we're coming down to global genocide and stuff like that, I think it's a little far, though. As a dad, I probably would want to wipe out half the continent if something happened to my kid. But another little note, Soren showing weakness. Soren just having a complete breakdown in the rubble when Corvus finds him. And then, of course, my notes also say Corvus Bay, possibly. All you shippers out there, have fun with that one. But yeah, those just few key notes I wrote down on that, of just things that there is. Of course, the stuck with me is that it shows a huge understanding and trust between Rayla and Callum, which is adorable. A lot of people, that's a lot of old ways of doing it. It's like, I love you forever, stuff like that. Actually, like something that shows that you're stuck with me and we're together on that. Instead of it being mushy, they've made it a lot more, in my senses of the words, tolerable. So it's just like, gosh, we get it. Don't beat us over the head with it. Anywho. So that takes us into episode 2. Now, to my host here, do not expect as much of a professionalism in mine as there is with hers. Mine is a lot of shorthand, and if she wishes to interject to correct me, I am so happy for that to happen. Let's see. This episode was called True Heart, I believe. Yes, True Heart. So we start off with meeting at the Bantha Lodge, where they have been relocated. We see that there are discussions happening of Runan's punishment and being held between Rayla and Callum. Uh, both seem, and then the one phrase that I think a lot of people need to start to normalize now is complicated. A lot of people think complicated is an excuse to avoid a conversation. No,
Mm.
there are sometimes situations that complicated is it. There is no, it's not dodging. It is just saying, this is a situation, and this is a situation they're in that is absolutely complicated.
Mm.
Uh, then, of course, we cut to, I believe this is around the time where Terry has been, I think Terry has been separated from the group, or is this before? I believe
Separated.
this is, I believe, before the whole incident that happened.
Yeah, I think
That
that's
we're
in my
going to.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was, so with Terry, of course, it cuts back to the, apparently it didn't stick long in my head, but I know they were going to the house of
Puzzle House.
yes, they were going to the puzzle house. And Terry said something adorable. I don't fully remember.
Mm.
Once again, Terry is Bean.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we get to the roundtable discussion as to what the next moves for the kingdom is going to be. And we also see the grand return of Weapon Bread sitting on
Weapon
the table
Bread,
and
yes.
breaking and almost breaking Soren's teeth.
Yeah.
Um, it does end up coming to a point where, of course, one of my favorite characters, and if I was to cosplay, because this is my body image at the moment, the Baker of Wisdom.
Baker of Wisdom.
Baker of, like, if they're going to rebuild, they want to know that they're rebuilding a home, which I
Yeah.
believe is a good mindset to have.
Okay.
But then, of course, it is then diverted by Ezra into like, well, why build something if it's just going to be destroyed in seconds? And of course, this is the psychology that he's sitting with at the moment. He's, in my opinion, he's overthinking, but it's justified overthinking. And I do believe that most of the table is sympathetic to how he's feeling, but are trying to be like, well, we get that, but Sol Regum's dead. There's no reason to be. And of course, Anya again interjects. I got a little annoyed with Anya this
Oh,
season.
did you?
She won me back at the end, but there were
Yeah.
times where it's like, well, what's your opinion, Prince? What's your opinion, Queen Anya? Oh, we gotta hear her again. She interjects, she's willing to help and all that. And then, of course, this just rose up a question to me: is true peace actually possible? In short, it is. It's a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot to get to it, but it is possible. That's my personal opinion. People can translate it as they want. Then we get back to our lovable group of villains. I don't know why I say that, but they get there, and of course, I put for the note on this. Even villains get to have fun. To where you get to see them scaling the tower, going into a carousel, and then, of course, as they warp through a dimensional rift in the palace, they leave and go, "Are you okay?" Erebos goes, "I've been trapped for millennia in a prison. This is the most fun I've ever had." I'm like, okay, that's a bit charming. So we have that. And then, of course, we get back. Rayla does understand that we're back at the discussion, and Rayla understands that there's a problem. That what Ezra is saying is true. Her brother did something wrong, but she's also acting very rashly. Callum, of course, understands exactly the frustration she's dealing with, and then puts his trust more into her feeling that she wants to do the right thing in avoiding losing her brother. Well, is it her brother or is it her adoptive father?
Who is?
Renan.
Renan
I keep
is
forgetting exactly how he just adopted her, right? He's
he
not related
adopted
to her.
her, and then in the
Okay,
last season, he's like, "Oh, like you're my father," and all this stuff.
yeah.
And
So
yeah, awesome.
nix that because my brain just went.
It's
So
okay.
adoptive father, which he does not want to lose. Of course, we never
Mhm.
would want to lose that.
Yeah.
She had her father, and then this is the father that stepped up. Not saying that her other father didn't, just
Mhm.
saying.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, which, in all honesty, in the last season, that was so heart wrenching that she had to
Oh
get
my
her
god.
parent. That was so uh, that hurt.
Mhm.
But anyhow, um, so and then of course Callum takes a gamble on his feelings on this, which of course we see pays off in a fight against the guards. um, but before we get into the fight with the guards, of course, there's the breakout scene, which is awesome. Which, of course, we have the great guards of the kingdom fooled by snack delivery.
Snack delivery.
Snack
Nice.
delivery. But these aren't really that dumb of guards because they actually use two different cuffs because not the same key. The guards are getting better. They're doing better. Good for them. At first season, they get tricked by a hay bale. Last season, keys. Hay is good. Hay is awesome.
He's good. He's the best.
And then, of course, we get a nice breakout scene. They are stealthily escaping, and then, of course, Soren's like, no, I almost wanted to let you go, which you're kind of like, Soren, just let him go.
You saw nothing.
But no, it's like, no, I'm loyal to the king, and like, respect, buddy, respect, but no. And then this also then leads to another, for us who know the psychology of what's going on here. You see that before he gets involved in it, Ezran admits there is a conflict and he needs time to understand everything. When he's, I believe, talking with Zim, I think there was another person involved. It might have been Anya, but he was inside the band's lodge. Then, of course, he hears our favorite catchphrase of the season, "Rickety Snickers," and then of course, we do cut back to the puzzle house where it pretty much leads to the idea of why not? It's magic. Stop asking. It was this was dealing with the map as to, well, why can't I see the map? Well, magic. you aren't pure hearted anymore. Sorry. And of course, yes, this is probably why Terry is Bean in this episode.
True heart.
I do believe that Callum did make the right call in helping Rayla escape and freezing the guards. And then, of course, we know that her, Runan, and Callum escape by wind boat, which, yay for Rayla, overcoming her fear of
We love
water.
to see it.
Good girl. And then this is where it gets a little philosophical for my read on this episode. Why is immortality always viewed with some type of evil? That's so interesting that the whole idea of the immortality in this universe is met with the idea of self-consumption. Just how to obtain it is like the most diabolical thing you could think of. Very weird. And then again, with the purity map, Claudia seems almost shook that she has lost her innocence of childhood to the point she cannot see the map anymore, which is a tragedy in itself. But and that kind of sums up my read of episode 2. Jen, if you want to interject anything on
I would
that,
like
you're
to
more than welcome
interject.
to.
Okay, I was definitely excited to see the bread again and the bread swords.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
This bread is weapons grade.
Weapons grade.
Enjoy.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know or are new to Dragon Prince, please watch the first season because that's where this joke comes from, and it is brilliant. Best aunt ever, best joke ever.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Yes, and I did want to also interject too. So remember how beforehand I said Dreamer's Nightmare was in the middle of season 6 and season 7?
Yes.
Little brief synopsis about Dreamer's Nightmare. So it's back when Ezran and Callum were very small boys, and they went with their father, the king, to this one village. And it looks like Callum and Ezran were like getting along, like as brothers. They were kind of like bickering with one another. Ezran's like, I can talk to animals. Callum's like, yeah, sure you can, and all this stuff. So, but yeah, eventually towards the end, they do get along, and how they get along is the jerk face dance is introduced at the end.
The jerk face dance.
So
that's a callback.
It is. So, but yeah, so it's this whole. It felt a little bit long. It's kind of like you kind of see like when their relationship started to really grow because they're half brothers in reality, but they act like brothers. So in the show, but you had to go back to the beginning and stuff. So when that came out, I was like, yeah, this would have been good years ago. But now watching season 7 and watching that discourse start to happen between them, between like what's good and what's bad and what's right and what's wrong, and like their relationship being put on the line and stuff, it's like, oh. Suddenly it hurts a lot more. So.
See, now I kind of wish the jerk face dance. I wish Ezran had to do the jerk face dance at the end.
Should have.
He should. He should.
Oh gosh, that'd be funny. So, but yeah, I wanted to tie that in there too because I know.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole connecting piece also came in. So, and the other thing too was so apparently we were told before season 7 came out that episode 2 True Heart was going to be like Terry and everything. And I thought, oh, this is going to be like Terry's point of view. Maybe we'll see through his eyes, more about him. But I really didn't feel like it. No.
Not really.
No, okay. Glad I'm not alone in this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice try, though.
Yeah, I just put, I guess, more how like young children, how young they once were. Yes. I guess this is more for Claudia. Like once you're young and you're making choices leading out of like childhood starts to get complicated. And there's only still a few that have like that true childlike wonder and heart and stuff. So
yes.
Kind of what I got on it.
So Jen, before we hop into the next episode for you, do you think you could have read the map?
I don't think so.
I honestly think it would depend on a day for me. Because there's sometimes where I do have that hopefulness and that optimism that Terry seems to have all the time.
Yes.
But then there are some days where just the reality of things hit. And the wonder is great, but the reality is that wonder is only there to make you forget about what's going on now. And that's just my personal view on things. Don't at me, folks. This is my own view. So, but I do hope that there are people out there that have this wonder and enlightened view of things. We need more Terrys in the world. I think I'd get a little annoyed after a while.
Yeah.
But there need to be a few more Terrys in the world. At least 5. We need at least 5 Terrys.
5 Terrys.
5 Terrys. One Terry's a lot.
We'll have a link down below. Put in your application to be a Terry. I'm just joking.
Yeah, who wants to be our personal Terry? Come on. Trees to meet you. No.
Please no. One of them has to be Australian, at least.
Yes. Australia, New Zealand. I'll take a Kiwi. Hello, trees to meet you. Yes, we'll take you.
Come on, bud.
Like the biggest, meanest guy in Australia applies. Like, yes, absolutely. Like as long as he's got a cheerful demeanor, I'll take him.
I love that.
All right.
Oh my gosh. All right. Chapter 3, The Glittering Bones.
A return of our favorite power couple.
Yes, so I'm going to start with, so in Lux Aurea, we have Queen Janai and now Queen Amaya.
Best aunt ever.
Best aunt ever. We love her.
Best aunts ever, actually.
Oh my gosh, yes! I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so the two queens are standing over Kareem's fallen army. Queen Janai gives a speech about old ways of death, which, I think my spell check really messed me up. So, yeah, she's given a speech about, like, the old ways would have been death because you all were traitorous. However, this is a new dawn of a new kingdom, and she says that the new ways will be in forgiveness and how they will each be granted a pardon, that they would have to earn back the trust of the others. She also calls that day the Great Amnesty.
Yes.
And that there won't be any third chances, yeah. The crowd chants
that being a key note in that
yes,
speech.
that there's
I think
no
a lot of
third
people
chances
need
of
to realize that forgiveness goes so far. But it also shows that not everyone is accountable. I do believe that, to me, in my opinion, I do see that if people have done something wrong and they are truly sorry for it, like they show that they are sorry for it, I believe there is a chance of redemption. If it is someone who has followed someone and was following orders, but knowingly knew it was bad and are not sorry that they did it, that is where I'm a bit more like amnesty is not worth it on this point. But it seems that the people in this one show that, yeah, we wanted to do this, but we also see how this was a bad thing and kind of a misled idea, and we are actually sorry. We don't want to die.
Didn't mean it, so, but
yes.
So therefore the crowd chants as they say, all hail the Queens of Mercy. At the campsite, the queens talk about Kareem and how Janai would not be giving him any mercy and not pardoning him, since he was the one to hold most of the blame, despite him being her brother, and how could she forgive him? So
I think my note on this is Kareem deserves it.
Kareem deserves it, I know. I don't know if anybody likes Kareem, but...
I mean, I know in one of the episodes I cover, there's a brilliant thing they did with lighting that I will explain, but I honestly believe Kareem gets what he gets. So,
yeah. We'll talk about that later. So, it goes from Janai asking, how can I forgive my brother? It transitions to Ezran saying, how can I forgive my brother? As he's hurt by Callum's betrayal, as he went with Rayla and Munan, saying he would never forgive Callum. Ezran wants Corvus to intercept Callum, Rayla, and Munan before they reach the Silver Grove, and Ezran snaps at Zim, who was just trying to give him a cuddle. No, so sad.
Poor Zim.
He didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Queen Anya steps in, asking Ezran for a moment of his time.
Anya again.
Yeah, here she goes. At the bridge, Anya talks about how Ezran and Callum are not broken, and how they are brothers, while they feed the ducks berries. Ezran cries a bit, and Zim and Bait comfort him. Anya says it is okay to be sad and angry, but to let it go for a while, as his kingdom and people needed him. Ezran agrees, saying she is right. Anya says there is a secret place in Durin she needs to show him. Later on, Queen Anya, Ezran, Bait, Zim, Soren, and Corvus fly out to Durin, passing Katalis. Queen Anya explains what really happened with the Mage Wars, which I don't think we had heard up till this point.
No, this is actually the first mention of the Mage Wars,
okay,
as far as I know.
It wasn't in any books or anything like that, not that I've seen up until this point. But
I wonder why I have this note here. It says Mama Miyana?
No idea.
I don't know why I have
Your
that.
spell check's having a day too?
I don't know. It's right above Terria's Bean and the Mage Wars. So. Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. It's kind of... Oh, no. It's the introduction of Kareem's love interest having a baby.
Oh, Miana.
Yeah, Miana.
I was going to get to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Cut it out. No kidding. Let me see. So, So Queen Anya starts to explain the Mage Wars. She said that the lands were once filled with magic, and humans who rose to power were those who used magic. The mages became warlords, yet waged wars over the land to find magic, bleeding the land dry, hunting down the last magical creature to extinction, which were the unicorns. The battle was over, and there was nothing left to fight for, and magical resources were either consumed or destroyed, leaving magic to be disappeared from the list. Ezran is confused about how he could not know, and Anya said some things were hidden, and she is about to show him a secret Durin kept for centuries. They arrive at the Durin location, a cave, and Anya shows off a fire ruby arrow and fires at a rock, and it crumbles at the impact. They all enter the cave and see large fire rubies all around. Ezran thanks her as she reveals this is what they can use to protect the human kingdoms, even from dragons, which Zim is not happy to hear about. Let's see. Claudia, Terry, and the old man, who is revealed to be Erebos, set out for the Garden of Innocence. They arrive at the area, but Terry is confused as they cannot find the tree. Claudia looks around and finds a large tree with hoofprints on it. She then runs and jumps onto the tree, saying the tree is the bridge. The others join her, and they enter the Garden of Innocence. Erebos tells Terry to go back to the forest to find 2 shimmer crow feathers, one small and one large. Terry leaves, and Erebos and Claudia start the real work.
The most metal image ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skelecorn.
Skelecorn! I like that. Claudia feels bad that they lied to Terry. Erebos said that he was partially telling the truth, that the garden was a place of rest and beauty, yet she realizes that the unicorns came to the garden to die. She summons the bones of a unicorn that was buried under the dirt. Claudia takes the bones and grinds them up, creating the moon primal stone, even though she wanted to make a primal jelly tart or a mustache.
A boring sphere.
Boring spear. It has to be a spear. Erebos says she reminded him of her daughter if she lived to be Claudia's age and describes her, which Claudia says it sounds like someone she would be friends with. She decides to make the primal stone into a ball, boring spear. Later on, Terry comes back with the feathers and overhears Claudia and Erebos talking about Eternal Night. Welcome back, Morgana. He then enters the chat. He then enters the chat with the feathers. He tries to ask what they were talking about, and Claudia says dark magic stuff. Claudia shows him the moon primal stone, and when he asks what makes it shimmer, she says magic. Erebos explains that the moon primal stone would have to go through around the world for a year, which was dangerous for many years.
You want to know my note for that scene?
Oh gosh, what is it?
Fly, my pretty.
Really? I was thinking Harry Potter, the Quidditch.
The snitch, yeah. I wrote down "Fly, my pretty" because when I was watching this, something came up with The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, did it?
That makes sense.
Perfect timing.
I think someone was playing like the Wicked soundtrack or something, and I was like, "Oh, fly, my pretty." Oh,
there you go.
One note I want to make: if you look at the cave of fire rubies, it shows there's not a lot of evidence of mining. It's like they only take a small amount for what they need. They aren't like fully integrating weaponry out of this. This is kind of where Anya won me back a bit. Anya was kind of getting on my nerves, but like, so she has this all-powerful weapon thing for weaponry, but her kingdom has shown restraint in using it for only what they need. So it kind of won me back a little bit, where at first when I saw him, like, oh, she's a diabolical, nice, evil person. And then I looked, I'm like, oh, wait, no, they've only got so much of it. And she doesn't ever use that fire arrow willy-nilly. She only uses it if she has to. So that kind of won me back to Queen Anya.
Back on Queen Anya's side. So.
Yes. And a note to take away from this episode: kindness is not a weakness. There's a lot some people, but there are some people that just will not change from what they are. They will not see being kind as a way to resolve things as their alternate way has worked for so long. You also see Claudia having a tinge of guilt in misleading Terry, who is Bean. And then, of course, the idea of a garden being a grave. Just when you see that scene, it does give you chills. And yeah, and that's all the further notes I have on that one.
So I just wanted to wrap up here with Erebos, takes the big feather, chants a spell, the ball grows wings, like I said before, kind of reminding me of like the Stitch and everything. Yep. Primal Stone leaves, and the three watch it go. Later on, we see in Luxaria. This is where the spoiler came in earlier, but we find out that Miana is pregnant.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. So then,
I'm a terrible person.
No, you're fine. But we do see that Queen Janai goes to visit Kareem and tells him to relinquish his name. At first, he's a bit confused, like, why do you want me to do this? But then he realizes that Miana is pregnant with his child. He says she is afraid that Janai is afraid of executing him because it would make him a martyr, and that one day the child would avenge him. She says no, that is not the reason, that he is her brother, and she is trying to save him, despite him looking at her with contempt. She leaves him alone then. Later on, Queen Janai gives Miana amnesty, but she has to live a humble life and never hold a position of power. She then orders Kareem to death. And it's also worth noting, too, Rayla and Callum do not show up in this episode.
Yes. Because they're all in the next episode.
Yes. So...
The next episode, called Unfinished Business, which starts with one of my favorite things about the Silver Grove, the dance for the entrance. This time with father, daughter, and boyfriend at the same time. Beautiful scene. And then, of course, there's a hesitation for Rayla, who sends Renan off to, and I'm going to forget the other father's name. Athari. Is disguised as a sense of, you two just need some time. When it's really, he doesn't know I'm pretty much dead to everybody. Like, you didn't tell him, which... It does all come back around full circle because I love how this writing goes. And then, of course, my note for this moment, which is I take a beautiful moment and I sum it up in one elongated word. Gay. With the best possible intentions. I loved how it was written, to where it shows the, as we all know from Athari, is completely in despair and loss of hope. Sees the reflection of Renan in the blade and immediately thinks it's a phantom or a hallucination that is haunting him. And even though it is speaking to him, which people who have suffered loss have moments where they have had a person speaking to them from whatever their idea of the beyond is, or some ethereal idea of an existence outside of this one. To the point of which you see he is so ingrained in it, the absolute shock of the feel of Renan touching him makes him drop the sword and is like, oh my gosh, it's real. It's real. I had to stop the episode and walk away.
Oh, no.
Because I'm like, oh my God, it's beautiful.
This is the moment we've been waiting for.
Yes. Then, I believe, why did I write that down? I don't know, but honestly, was lovely done. And then, it does track to Callum and Rayla discussing, like, so you still haven't told him yet? And, of course, as this conversation is going underway, Renan comes, Rayla! Cool, busted! Why didn't you tell me? And it's the most adorable Like, I thought you knew
About us. It's like,
about us. No, I mean that you've been banished. It's like, yeah, I don't care that you're with him. I care that you've been kicked out. Typical dad. It's like, I don't care who you're in love with. I care that someone's being mean to you.
Oh.
Gotta love Renan and Athari. They are
Yes.
great. And then, of course, one of the other heart-wrenching scenes, because Terry is Bean, and I hate seeing Terry in situations, because here comes Erebos with his four-dimensional, brutal ideals of life chess. They are walking through the woods, and he asks, "Why the small feather?" "I see your face, Jen." So it ends through this long soliloquy of explaining why things stay in the afterlife, between the afterlife, or in the in-between, is they have unfinished business, which of course I hear that and I'm like, big feather, little feather. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, no. It shows the bird. A beautiful, beautiful artwork done with the raven is lovely. What was the full title of that raven?
A shimmer crow.
Shimmer Crow. Lovely design. I honestly wish I could get like a piece of artwork of that as like a silhouette or something. It's very lovely. But you see it gathering worms for the babies, and Terry, of course, says that out loud.
Oh my god.
And Erebos is like, yes.
And, ominous, yes, my
yes.
pet.
And then, of course, it almost dawns on Terry as he sees Erebos reach his hand out. And then like, oh god. And I'm like, that is brutal. And unfortunately, Erebos, and if you look at it from his point of view, yeah, he's right. A panicked mother who was not able to see her children before her end is now has unfinished business to make sure that her children survive. Therefore, yeah, leading to that, which is one of the final straws in that breaks for Terry, which now opens his eyes to, oh my gosh, I've been misled all along by this person I really care about. Cut back to the Silver Grove. The greatest family support moment I've ever seen.
Family support. We love to see it.
Yep, two dads supporting their daughter, which I find. I'm sorry, I saw my notes for when the bird got, and it says, "Oh no, the burb."
Oh no, you burb.
And then after that, it says, "Gay dads unite," which,
ooh,
yes.
Gay dads unite. I want that as a bumper sticker, please.
And then also another note under this: forgiveness is earned, not forced, which is a beautiful display in this scene of reconciling with the ones that Rayla betrayed or let down. Explaining her side that their losses were not in vain, that she understands that what she did led to their demise, but her actions also led to what they promised being fulfilled, in a sense of one leading to the end of division and acceptance of people, another one being that though there is a loss of life, something has grown from it, that enemies could unite into others, that of course the return of the Dragon Prince himself has occurred and all that, and that there's a start of a new ideal of future for Zadia and the worlds itself. So, and then of course we get to where we think, oh, who's the fifth one? And we think it's Runan. Of course, we know Runan has forgiven her. And then of course Runan's like, no, you have to forgive yourself. And then of course we get the ominous music. Like, And then, of course, Renan knows. He's like, no. Of course, the elder is a father of one of the ones that are lost. Yes, this is a. I know a lot of people, when I brought this one up, said, yes, this is a big, huge trope in writing that it's always a family member of somebody who feels the most betrayal and everything, which, yes, this plays into that, but I still say it was written very well. It was not overdone. It was not over in your face saying, yeah, you, of course, damn you, damn you. No, it's like
Yeah.
strict to the point. You lost me my son. I will never forgive you, which any parent would feel terrible. And if anyone hears it, my son is getting fed right now and he's kind of pitching a bit of a fit. So I apologize. He is totally fine. Don't worry. But it also that forgiveness, I think my full note is forgiveness is earned, not forced, but it also does not have to be given. It's all in the person's translation of it and how they truly feel about it, which in this case worked out in the sense of the father realized, I can be as angry as I want, it will not bring my son back. And it doesn't change the fact that this young woman is right. Things have changed and they are changing for the better. Now, do we know if he fully forgives her? No, but apparently he forgives her enough to allow her back, which is great.
Awesome.
Oh, and then after this, it's, oh, Terry, no.
Oh, Terry, no.
This is probably the
Poor boy's going
confrontation
through it.
scene with. This is probably the confrontation scene with Claudia, where it is a breakdown of, you've lied to me, you've betrayed me, I've loved you and supported you, and you weren't upfront with me, and now I cannot accept being with you because of this. I have to give Terry a lot of props for this, for a character that comes off as very meek and very manipulative. Well, manipulatable. There we go.
Yeah.
Manipulatable. For him to stand for himself, and you see the heartbreak in him that he does not want to do this, but it's such a big deal to him that he is fighting everything to say, no, I can't accept this, I've got to leave. And then of course he goes and he gets the baby Burbs, and it's his unfinished business now.
The music in that scene was absolutely haunting, like beautiful
Yes.
and everything. Like music
Yes.
this season has been so good.
Yes. And then of course, if anyone ever wants a good example of gaslighting, this is the episode, because Erebos is on it. He is talking, I believe he monologues with Claudia for a good long time about everything. I do believe it's either in this one or down the road, he actually goes up and, oh no, this is him saying, yes, I do not speak in full truths, I do speak in half truth, but it doesn't, but sometimes that's what's needed for me to get things done. And it's just like, he's not wrong, but that's terrible. And then of course this comes down to again, Callum revealing that he is the same character in multiple universes. There's a Sokka moment in where after Rayla has a deep moment saying that she does not require the forgiveness of the elder, but she has come to forgive herself, and he is now realizing that his hatred isn't going to change anything, and her now being brought back. There's a family group hug, and what does Callum do? Make it weird, because
He's
am I supposed to be in
awkward.
on? Am I supposed to be in on this? Am I not supposed to be in on this? Is this just a family thing? And of course, either I don't know if it was Athari or if it was Runan, but I was glad it was one of them. Pull him into the hug, and I'm like, that is great. So, and key things to take away from this episode is be able to, if anything, even if no one can find their self to forgive you, you need to learn to forgive yourself and be able to grow from that. And even if, yes, you're living with someone who is always going to despise you for it, if you understand and accept what you did as a mistake, but you are moving past it, you are showing more strength and moving on from your mistake and learning from it than that person is by staying with it and constantly blaming you. Doesn't mean that they aren't justified in their pain. It just means that they are taking a longer route to healing, uh, which they may never get down from or move along from. So, and that's truly a tragedy, but that's just how some people act. Um, Terry, I believe, showed a lot of strength in this episode in the sense of you should not stay in a situation that messes with your uh, ideals.
Yeah.
If your ideals are being changed for someone that you care about and it's changing you, you should not be you. I do believe you should, when you meet someone, being married and all that, you change a few things to adapt and be with the person you're with. But if it's taking you change yourself completely, that's unacceptable. In my People should accept differences and not expect you to change completely for them. And that's another thing to take away from this episode. And I believe on our schedule, I'm also on this next one, which, yes, so we kind of divvied things up. So let's see here. This one is Sticky Fingers. We start off with a lovely monologue of Terry is Bean moment, asking forgiveness of the baby burbs.
Hello,
Yes.
Zuko here. That's what
He is
it
having a
reminded me.
Zuko moment.
Yes,
That is actually the second thing. He is having a Zuko moment. Like,
Zuko.
hi, Zuko here.
Zuko here.
This is a Zuko moment. And then, of course, we then, after this lovely scene of him prepping his monologue for future things, we are then met with a lovely breakfast of Runan, Athari, and Callum. And Callum being awkward.
He's awkward. I love him.
For the 30th time of every day, he's been there saying, "You guys have a place here." You've said that several times every day you've been here, in fact. And Athari is like, "Be nice to the boy." It's not, he's just nervous meeting his girlfriend's parents. Yes, as anyone should be. Whoever you are, boyfriend, girlfriend, any in between, if you're meeting someone's parents, it is terrifying. I met my wife's mother at a McDonald's because she wanted to meet me, and we had just started dating. And I'm like, I feel like I'm about to be taken out at McDonald's because my wife's half Irish, half Italian, and I'm like, there can only be so much bad that could happen. Then we are brought to the return of another great character, the assistant Crow Lord, aka Crowmaster.
Yay!
Who's trying to up his status. And of course, Ezrin is, I don't think I have any authority of this whatsoever. It's like,
what do you want from me?
Like, but you're the highest on the list. There's a list.
It's like chief of command.
Yeah.
Chief commander.
And then, of course, return of the Bean, Terry, who, except for people who have not shown up yet, no one knows who Terry.
I felt so bad for him.
Terry being charming, he's like, I did this with glasses. Let me try.
Oh,
nope, that's not working. And he keeps trying to move forward to be friendly, and the guards keep stopping.
I know.
I'm like, he's just trying so hard. And then, of course, you hear Zim just growling the entire time. I'm like, did he meet Zim? I don't remember, but I'm like, why is Zim?
Maybe in season 4 with the Umbertor and stuff, maybe there was something there.
Maybe. But that or it's just Zim being protective. Who knows? But he's growling the whole time. And then we cut back to the Silver Gold to learn about moon cubs.
Yes,
which is leading to another note I have, which is children are evil, double underlined evil. Um,
See, I've worked with kids, especially that age, and I knew going in, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get pestered with
oh, it can only be
questions.
bad.
Like, I
So
I
what
knew.
happens is that
Happened.
the loving fathers and Rayla go out to prepare a forage feast, which is a tradition for new guests and celebrations and stuff like that. But because of that, Athari was originally not going to go because he had to watch someone's kids. It's pretty much from what it sounds like, it's just like a glorified babysitting program.
I was thinking
Um,
like Cub Scouts
it
or
seems
like,
like Cubs that you when
yeah,
you hear it, it sounds
it
like Cub
sounds like
Scouts, but
Cub Scouts.
it just seemed like in this situation a babysitting gig.
Yeah.
But the way that Authority comes off on it, it's like, yeah, it sounds like they do more than just babysit. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, so he comes, he pretty much takes over, and the kids are like, "Ooh, new toy, let's play." Like, why do you have this extra finger? Why don't you have horns? Why is your hair greasy? And of
Why does
course,
everyone
Callum
keep
is,
saying
why does
that?
everyone say that about me?
Like the bathroom.
Oh, I forgot. Back in episode 4, we had the return of Elf Callum
Oh yeah.
and the introduction of Elf Sneezy.
Oh, Sneezy's the best. Oh, so
Yes.
cute.
Okay. So besides that
Okay,
jump, um,
back to episode 5.
yes, and then let's see. I'm just kind of I'm skipping through scenes at the moment, but
I will say when Callum does the tickle touch with the
yes,
kiddos, I don't know if you watched the end credit scenes, but you see King Harrow doing the exact same pose and position with a young Callum and Ezrin, like trying to tickle him, and I was like, my heart, my heart
yeah,
can't take that. Why?
yep.
Why'd you do that? So yeah,
Now I remember because I wrote down for this scene "saving your ass," and
great.
because it is when our favorite aunt comes to
Mhm.
Karim and is trying to talk some sense into him. Um, which, of course, I love that everyone who's coming to enlighten him
Uh-huh.
comes in and is lit from the doorway
Yep.
completely.
Mhm.
Anyone who comes and talks to him is lit completely in the light, and Kareem is sitting
Mhm.
3/4 covered in darkness and just a little bit of light
Mhm.
shining on him from the doorway.
Mhm.
Um, and of course, the charming son of Aunt Maya just
Mhm.
they're like, she wanted me to tell you that she did not say posterior.
Yes, the return of Grenserd.
Yes.
I love it.
As someone who has a ton of respect for sign
Mhm.
language and how much it means to so many people, I do wish they would translate a little bit
A
so I
little
did
bit.
learn sign language to read what's being said sometimes because they don't
Usually,
subtitle.
well, usually in the Dragon Prince wiki, they usually have like a small like ASL tab or something with each episode. Season
Ah,
seven's not completely complete with the Wikipedia, but sometimes if you go back, like
mhm.
in the first like 5 or 6 seasons, there will be like a small little bit of like what the signs meant and stuff. So, and I
Right,
don't think they sign like complete sentences that much. I think it's just like a couple words here and there, and then Grin just
right,
like says it as a full sentence. So there's that too.
right. And then after this, we cut to it was the interview. Oh, my wife's asking about the interview. It's with my friend Jen. That's who.
Yeah.
Um,
And
my watch went off.
okay.
Um, the so then it goes into Storm Big Brother mode, which is revealed that Terry, who's now being questioned by everybody, who has no one who realizes who he is. Someone goes, "You," and he's like, "Oh, finally, someone who knows me." Instead of being afraid,
Salad guy. It's like, oh my
yeah, solid
goodness.
guy. He's like, "You." Oh, and then of course, it then comes down to, oh yeah, by the way, Erebos is back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we cut to then we move on to the Sap Swear, which is lovely because it's another universe that allows its characters to know that there's a theme song even though they don't know they're in a show. Terry is humming the theme song to Dragon Prince.
He does that in several episodes.
As he is looking through the trees, which Soren is now following him, wondering why he's out in the woods. What are you doing? And why are you getting these worms? And he's like, this is why. And it's like, oh, babies.
Baby boys.
And then they end up going to of course, another thing that I wish they would divulge a bit more on is Ezran's ability to talk to animals. It's hinted at throughout the entire series, but there's never like a why does he have this ability? And I'm sure there's some type of offshoot or a graphic novel that probably explains it better than anything. But it's just, to me, it's like it's there. Great. But of course, thanks to the good words of the Burbs, Terry is now accepted and leads to a sap swear, which of course has to be another Soren moment. Like, Soren, please don't make this a big deal. And Corvus even helps in the sense, yep, not poison, it's sap. How do we get ourselves apart? Oh yeah, that's a tricky part. It's adorable and awesome. And then of course I get to my next point. Children are evil. To where Callum has been investigated and then interrogated by one, possibly I would have to say, would you say 7 or 10 years old, you think? Maybe possibly 100 years old if Elves lives that long in this. Who knows? Are you friends with Rayla? Oh yeah, sure. Do you like her? How many conversations has this happened in people's lives? We've all had this. Do you really like her? Yes.
Boundaries? Okay. We don't know them.
And then, of course, the explanation of, I think if I love Callum's approach of this because it doesn't matter to him how, if they had kids, how it would turn out. He believes that if we had 10 kids, they'd be 10 ways different, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this brilliant moment of almost philosophy gets changed into Rayla. Callum wants to have 10 babies with you. 10! And the shock on Rayla, Athari, and the disdain on Renan. It's like, God. And then Athari just, yes, this is what I was expecting. Okay, great. Good job, kids. And then, let's see. We have a continuation with Kareem and Antamaya, who is trying her best to be like, I'm giving you a chance. You really need to understand this. And of course, he's defiant to the end.
He's not going to change. Everybody can see that, but not Renan.
Some people cannot change. Renan is it's just odd. Kareem is just not giving up. But we are also brought to a scene where Miana, I believe, am I saying that name right?
Miana.
She is brought in, and again, the lighting. She is in full sunlight. He is now halfway lit. For those of you who don't know why I'm turning and looking, I'm looking at a giant screen with every scene up on the screen. And I am looking at a scene of Miana and Kareem. Kareem is lit 50% dark, 50% light, and it's only light at his feet. His face has not been revealed into light at all. She is completely in light. He is, of course, more concerned of, this is my heir, this is yada, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. She's like, I've accepted that I am no longer going to have power or anything else, but I want this baby to be healthy and all that. It doesn't matter. Power does not matter to me. I want you to be in this kid's life, yada, yada, yada. So very powerful scene there. And it seems he has submitted to the idea of, I think this would be a better idea than death. And then, of course, we learn about Moonberry surprise. Gosh, that was both an awesome and kind of
I was
terrifying scene.
creeped out. It still
It was.
creeps me out. I'm like, what is this? I've been
That's
waiting.
Moonberry.
I've been
That's
waiting.
Moonberry surprise, baby.
I've been waiting for Moonberry Surprise since season 3 because eventually I do want to do like a Dragon Prince, like making all the different foods and stuff. And when they said it, I was
Moonberry
like,
surprise looks like some type of
yeah,
berry baked Alaska.
that's what I thought too and stuff. I was like,
It
oh, that's
does.
great. And then the mussels and and I was like, no, please no.
The doll's eyes, the
Yeah.
awkward smile, and the muscles. Yeah. Then of course, the notes for this one is people can change dreams. New dreams can come from old dreams, which this is implying the ideals that are happening between Karim and Miana. She has accepted her fate, and it's like, I'm just grateful that I will be able to have my child and raise my child. This is my dream now. This could go for anyone in this world, in the sense of you can have dreams. I originally, I work in quality control, and I stream and I do stuff. My original like dream job, I wanted to be a whale trainer at SeaWorld. I wanted to do that, but I didn't do that. And then I wanted to be a psychologist. And then I was approached with the idea, I'm like, that's a job that you take home with you. Do you really think that's something you can do? And I said, no. So then I went into electronics, and now I do quality control for medical equipment. I changed because now my dream is I have a son. I have a family that's very loving and very supportive. I get to go do conventions. I get to have fun with my kid. I get to stream and have fun with that. And I get to do these lovely interviews with my good friend Jen. So yeah, I don't believe people give up on their dreams. I believe people should alter their dreams to meet the goals they want, with even if it's not the exact route they took. Life is a path, not a book, in a sense of the path continues as long as you keep forging it. And then when it's over, that's when life's a book. And you can make a shirt out of that if you want.
Remember to make shorts, I'm sure.
Yes. And that wraps up my my analysis of episode 5, which I believe the next 2 episodes are yours.
I believe so, but I want to go back to season.
Oh yes, your insight.
My insight. So my philosophical, psychological, whatever was
philosophical, psychological,
whichever one, is to get King Ezran to trust you. You take care of animals. The animals say good things, and trust is earned.
When in doubt, you have animal friends. They'll vouch for you.
Yeah, there you go. So that, and then going back to the whole like 10 baby thing, I'm very excited about that because I do have plans to do like a Rayla and Callum wedding fanfic AU type of thing. I know, I do so many. So, and I want them to have kids. And I was like, man, like how's it gonna turn out? Like an elf and a human? What's that gonna look like?
So that's the thing, is that of course, having the mindset I've got, I approach things very logical to the point at which I'm going to tell everyone that I have ADHD. Technically, originally confirmed as ADD, but it's ADHD. Hang on.
I was like, I thought you were proving a point.
I am making a point.
It's okay.
So I am saying that there's this lovely thing called hyperfixation, which makes you overanalyze things.
Yes.
So when you hear something like 10 babies, 10 different outcomes, I'm like, my brain goes, but is it even possible? Because a dog and a cat can't have kids. Are they that different? Is it possible? You overthink this stuff.
I know, it's very easy. Get lost in the sauce. But yeah, I am excited because it kind of reminds me, I think of like Avatar, The Way of Water. I think whenever, like in that movie, I think when they had kids, each one had like different traits or something. I gotta go back and rewatch, but I don't know, it made me think of that too. It was like the creators of Avatar, The Last Airbender, but apparently we're bringing Avatar, The Way of
Yep.
Water. It's like, okay, this is getting to be too much.
Yeah, there's
So.
2 avatars. One's cinematically awesome, and the other one is also cinematically awesome.
I like
That's
the
confusing.
I like the cosplayers out there that cosplay from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they use that like little audio clip of like, you know, why do you look like that? Why are you blue? To signify like somebody else's cosplaying Avatar.
Yes.
The Way of Water, whatever it is. And stuff.
Yes.
So that's funny.
I will say that is funny to see at some conventions, Sokkas and Callums run into each other. It is hilarious.
I would that so much.
I wish I had recorded it, but like as Callum walked up to a Sokka, saw his boomerang, and he walked up, yanked it out of the holster. They knew that they were going to do it.
Oh, they knew they were going to do it. Okay.
Number one, never grab anyone's props.
Don't do that.
But these guys knew it. Walked up, yanked it out, and holds it up like Callum in the show. Goes, boomerang? And then the Sokka turns around and goes, yes, boomerang.
It's my boomerang. Oh my gosh, that gives me hope. Maybe I will cosplay Callum once this year, just in hopes that a Sokka cosplayer eventually meets with me. So, but yeah, see you typing notes. Alright, so that was all my notes for chapter 5. So we're going to go ahead and move into chapter 6, which is called Inversion. So this one is a very lengthy episode. So if you want to just like jump in, so I could take a sip of water every now and then, go for it. You have permission?
Sure. I've got insights.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so
there is also a possibility that Baby Bray may have to come down here because the missus probably needs 20 minutes. So if any of you know Bluey, you know what that means. Yes.
20 minutes.
Yes.
I agree. All right, so Inversion. So we have Claudia and Erebos head to the moon nexus, yet they stop on at a cliff edge where a moon that is cast in half shadow and the other is half gleaming in the background. Erebos confesses something that Terry had said, which is that he never lies, but he shares half the truth, and in the shadows of something untrue that may linger. Claudia is skeptical, and Erebos says about the in-between, and he starts to say that her father's spirit he doesn't believe could be there, and Claudia says that she knows. She reflects on the last time she saw him and how he put everything behind him, and how he was at peace, and how he left without unfinished business. Erebos is confused as to why she still wants to help invert the moon nexus. So she asks Erebos to answer it, which is, why is he doing all this? He explains the cosmic order of things must be torn down. Claudia needs to hear the whole truth, which Erebos answers, saying that Leola, his daughter, was punished for something innocent, so he wants to destroy the cosmic order of things.
That was a brutal moment.
Yeah.
Oh, the celestial world itself just turned on him to destroy his daughter. Just nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
So he wants...
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Whenever I think about that one, it was...
It was something. So he wants to make the cosmic order hurt because he has a wound in him that will never heal, and to have them suffer forever, and to have them share in that suffering. Satisfied with the answer, Claudia instructs Erebos to follow her, and the two of them leave.
Oh, I forgot this in the last one. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Terry brought up a plan in the last episode to try to win Claudia back over to their side by possibly connecting her with her mother, which Thorne was very, very much against. This is important because it's going to lead into this next episode. But it ends up they're like, well, what'd she look like? He's like, oh, I only got this old picture. And then Corvus, being Bay, puts hand on shoulder. It's okay, honey.
It's okay.
That's what I got from it. It's not my fault that my brain is so open-minded about these things.
It's okay. Let's see. But yeah, that was important information that I totally forgot.
But yeah, so and
That's
then
gonna
the
be
picture's
important.
open and it's a beautiful picture of the family, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it does lead into this episode. Back to
Yes.
you, Jen.
Back to me. Okay. So
I
Astrid
am going to go
brings.
kidnap my son real quick.
Okay.
You keep going.
Okie dokie. Alright, so Astrid brings the news to Rayla and Callum that the fallen star, Erebos, has returned to Zadia. I feel a little bit lonely now. And how he will reign in the dark. He will reign in the darkness of the world. Rayla is confused since they thought that they brought the pearl to the celestial elves, yet Astrid says the real pearl was in Katalis all along, and that the other one was
Everyone, we have a
Candy.
special guest.
Special guest, little baby. Hi,
This
baby.
is my son Bray.
Hi,
He
Bray.
just had a feed.
The youngest member of Demon Interviews.
Yes.
Woo.
He's a production baby. He's awesome.
Production baby.
Anywho.
All right, well, you get to listen to story time. So.
Yes. You get to grab at everything Daddy has.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So they find out that it was actually Candy.
And my lovely wife.
Hello, lovely wife. Oh gosh. Let's see. So they find out that it was Callum. They had brought the candy, which the celestial elves ate. Callum cannot believe it, and despite Rayla trying to comfort him, saying it was not his fault.
Yeah, they did eat the candy ball, didn't
they? They did. I mean, why not? It's chocolate. Free chocolate.
Candy ball.
I think I should have been like we ate it. Like we ate it. I love Astrid. This whole season made me love Astrid.
Astrid's
more,
awesome.
So.
Especially when she's meeting people, it's
Hi.
Hi, are you? Hi, are you? Hi, are you? No.
Astrid.
Astrid became Bean for a few episodes.
Exactly. Let me see. So, despite Rayla trying to comfort Callum, saying it was not his fault, Callum sees his darker self in the reflection of the water. So, he then leaves the area. Callum flies away, and we see the key of Erebos again. We haven't seen that in quite some time. Callum is greeted by a darker version of himself, wearing a cape with the dark magic scars and a white piece of
a true definition of having a conversation with yourself.
Pretty much. This got very confusing, and I'm hoping my notes will be okay because this was.
It is fine. You've got this. You're not balancing a baby.
I'm balancing a bait. He is my baby.
Yes. You were going for Daddy's watch. You're too adorable.
So cute. Let me see. So he says he needs time with himself. Callum
this is also a moment of another psychological interjection here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is called a hyperpanic spiral, where he is immediately spiraling into self-doubt, aggression against himself, all this, where in all honesty, he's not realizing he's come to terms with himself in the sense of this guy's not trying to make him do anything wrong. He's like, yeah, I know I'm bad. I know you don't want to use me, but I am a possibility. So I'm part of you. There may be a reason that I'm around still, but you're not a bad guy. I'm the bad part of you. You're not. But of course, this goes into a massive spiral and then eventually reaches an equilibrium of acceptance. Not the best level of acceptance, but yeah. And carry on.
No, you're good.
I had double lines under it. I'm like, this is something that
is important. It's very important. So, and that's something that I love about the Dragon Prince series is they take these little small messages and lessons and they kind of tie it into the show. So,
if anyone doesn't know what a hyperpanic spiral is, it's pretty much a next step of a panic attack. It is. If you ever hear someone in a panic attack say, I am spiraling, that is what is happening, is they are in a point where it's really difficult to get them to calm down, to where this is usually where you have to get this person in contact with someone that can bring them back and anchor them, or usually sometimes this is where a weighted blanket or
Mhm.
If they allow it, a hug can sometimes calm them down. This is a massive amount of psychological pressure that needs to decompress. So uh,
And if you're by
everyone has their
yourself, oh,
yeah, everyone has their own methods of
yeah.
dealing with it.
Mhm.
Uh, and usually people have a system set up for how to handle it.
Mhm.
Sometimes people don't. And in that situation, you really need to be very careful and calm around the person so that they know they're safe and have someone there that's trying to help them. So,
Mhm.
uh, sorry to
Yeah.
go off on a
No,
psychological
you're
rant, but
good because
yeah,
that's something that I do with my
it is an important
clients.
thing for people
Yeah.
to know. Yeah.
And if you're by yourself and you don't have anything or anyone to help, the grounding technique, 5 4 3 2 1, is
Mhm.
helpful. I have clients, they'll try to find, like, spot like red things in the room, blue things in the room. So that
Mhm.
way you kind of keep yourself grounded in the moment before your
Yes.
mind catches up with you. So that's
Yes.
very important to bring up. So
Yes.
those are not fun.
We try to help people here at Demon
Yes,
Logan.
we do. We do. We're very helpful. Springy's gonna watch this video and be like, they're being way too nice. Like, it's like, this is fine.
No one's this nice. They're a bunch of Terrys.
That's funny.
Ray's just here. I'm working on my tooth.
Working on your tooth. Oh yeah, can you for Springy's sake say that it's okay for Bray to be on the show since he's under
Yes,
18?
Ray is fine to be on the show.
Okay.
He's
We have
his mom's
consent.
totally fine with it.
Okay.
He no, there is nothing bad that's going to be happening on here or anything.
Yes.
Completely acceptable. He's
Adorable.
also way too young to know what a swear word is, so if I do swear, it's not terrible.
He's fine.
but
There you
he's
go.
good.
Springy, peace of mind.
Yeah, he's completely fine.
Okay.
His Nana may not like it, but he's fine. No one's
Mom
gonna.
needs 20 minutes, and
Yeah, mom needs 20 minutes. This is an important thing. This is more important than Nana saying, I don't want him on a camera. Well, mom needed 20 minutes, and she doesn't watch my stuff anyway. So, yeah.
Don't send her this link.
Yeah. And all you're really going to see is the top of his head and his eyes every once in a while. So,
cute.
yeah, maybe you'll hear him grunt or something, but
Yeah.
maybe he'll be talkative. Who knows?
Oh,
But yeah, Bray is
Okay.
totally fine to be on here.
Okay,
If he wasn't, my wife wouldn't let me have him.
That's true. So,
yep.
Okay, back to episode 6. So, yes, so there's dialogue between Callum and Callum's darker self. Callum is a bit confused at first, saying that he did the ritual at the Star Scraper to cleanse himself of dark magic. Yet the dark Callum says he has always been a part of him. There's a bit of confusing dialogue until Dark Callum asks how the book is going. He reminds Callum of the quote, "Destiny is a book you write yourself." Callum says it's not going great. Dark Callum said he was young and naive back then, and how he can learn to trust the dark part and trust himself. Callum says he is himself and not as twisted as Dark Callum. Dark Callum reveals that only the dark part of Callum can save them all from the world being destroyed. Callum will be able to save them through Dark Callum as he takes the key of Erebos and the symbols change to the dark magic rune, saying he would have to sacrifice his sense of right and wrong. But Callum can't because Rayla loves him, at least that part of him, and believes in him. Dark Callum says he would do whatever he must, no matter how dangerous or how vile.
Quote of the series.
It's everywhere. It's every season. Even in trailers, I think it's in there too.
Yes. However evil, however vile. I will say this is a great example of self-interaction. A lot of people don't know there is actually a psychological treatment where people will actually sit in front of a mirror and speak to themselves. Sometimes they will monologue what like comes up in their brain as the reaction to it. It's actually very interesting to see. I've tried to do it. I failed at it horribly. I'm not a conversationalist with myself.
It's hard sometimes to sit with yourself and your thoughts and feelings and everything. I have many clients that are like that. They don't want to sit with those dark thoughts. They either want to suppress them or they want to ignore it. And it's like the more you do that, the more it's going to come back tenfold. So I definitely think that's a
but
good point to bring up.
it also shows a confrontating a known darkness of someone, if you really want to put it that, where in like in out here in the real world, it would be confronting a negative, which everyone has negatives. And it's not like, oh, this person drowns puppies. No, it's not that. It's more, I tend to focus more on this than my girlfriend, or I've put more into my work than actually taking care of myself. It's confront. That's what it's just like the idea of the word consequences. Consequences doesn't always mean negative. Consequence also means positive. That's why there's positive and negative consequences. So in this sense, he is confronting a negative of himself, which we all have them. There is no perfect person. As much as you want, as much as some people say that they are, they aren't. And I mean, even this little guy is not perfect. He doesn't know how to use the bathroom on his own.
He's so perfectly
You want anything
handsome.
to input on this, bub? We'll just put you back down there. Anyway, but he's able to confront himself and accept that there is a darkness in him, and he knows that if he's going to use it, it will be the only time he uses it, because I'm not sure if that's mentioned in this, so I'm not going to say exactly what is meant by that. But it is I'd say a very good example of self-interaction and self-confrontation. And it shows that yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought I was going somewhere with that, but no, that pretty much wrapped everything up that I was saying on that. So
okay,
that
sounds good. Wraps up. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up this little part.
You put in your mouth.
He's trying though.
Oh, okay, I can't get it out of his mouth. He's not letting go of it. You just sit there and be cute. Then.
So Dark Callum says, you'll do whatever it takes. Callum is feeling a bit defeated, and how there has to be another way without dark magic. Dark Callum asks why did he save the cursed coin, which is now a blank copy, and that Callum needs Dark Callum after all to be able to cast a spell to put a soul into the coin. Callum, who is looking through his book, finds the amulet given to him by Akiyu in Season 5, and an idea springs up in his mind and how he doesn't need Dark Callum. Callum flies away, leaving Dark Callum there. Callum flies back to Rayla, who was saying that Callum is strong enough to work through this, and she does in fact believe in him, and Callum says that he has a plan. Of course, yes.
You're being cute again.
Yes. Alright, so meanwhile, Claudia and Erebos go to the Moon Nexus and are met by Soren and Terry. Soren lays down his weapon, saying that he made a promise not to hurt/kill her. That's what Crow was talking a little bit earlier about. We'll recap, so yes.
Oh, if anyone doesn't know, that's my nickname with Chin is Crow.
Oh, so, sorry. Yeah. Do you for Crow?
It happens. It happens. It happens.
Let me see. So
my name also on this is Crow Lucas too, so don't worry about it. It should be.
That's fine.
That's for people that are not familiar with it, who haven't seen me on here before.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Clarifying. Let's see. Claudia does not lay down her weapon, and she moves past them. At the top of the staircase, we see a woman who is revealed to be Claudia and Sora's mother, Lisa. Lisa greets her, saying she wants to hold and hug her, and yet she doesn't deserve that. She says she regrets leaving her children and how she still loves them. Claudia begins to cry. The two talk for a bit, and Claudia eventually runs into her mother's arms, saying she looked exactly the way Claudia remembers. Lisa returns the hug. Yet Claudia says almost too exactly and pulls out a claw-looking thing and chants a spell before stabbing Lisa in the back. Lisa staggers back, and Claudia says she is not an idiot, and that it was in fact Jane who cast an illusion spell. Claudia says it was a good try, if only they had aged up the illusion a little bit. Terry said that he had hoped she would have found something that was lost inside her heart to stop herself. Alan gets upset and starts to attack Claudia, and Soren and Terry try to stop him. Claudia then freezes them.
Go.
Claudia then freezes them. Erebos comes over, telling Claudia well done and that they can proceed. Claudia chants a spell with the bag, and the Mother Shimmer Crow flies out. The Moon Primal Stone is used, and the bird takes away a curtain-looking thing from the Moon Nexus Lake, and Claudia chants another spell, which creates a whirlpool. With another spell, the dark shadow creatures emerge from the whirlpool, flying around.
Spell after spell after spell after spell.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yes.
The necromancer then flies. A necromancer mage appears, and Erebos whispers in his ear and gives him the staff. The necromancer flies away. Erebos says that Claudia knows what to do next and how she wears the last scale of She-Wall and how it will protect her. Claudia sprouts her bat wings and flies away. The others are unfrozen, yet Erebos is taken by one of Queen Anya's arrows. He says that this form is merely a vessel, and his body disintegrates. The others check in on Lu Jane, who looks like she will recover. Soren and Anya fight the dark creatures as the others get Lu Jane to safety. So then we see Erebos goes back to the hill, which he made in the first episode, and transforms into his giant form, saying, "I
And we
rise
see
again."
the real reason for the weapons.
Yes.
Which is the one redeeming factor that I was like, really? He's going to stockpile weapons? Oh my gosh. And then this happens. Like, that makes sense.
So Ezran was waiting for Erebos there, and through the power of big arrows and teamwork, Erebos is brought down in chains, and Ezran approaches him, a grim look in his eyes. Not only that, but we see the being who, Sir Sparklepuff, if you will, the being comes back out from the in-between portal and gives a
yes,
growl.
Sir Sparklepuff.
Sir
Best named character. Creepiest character, best named character.
Yes. And our little Gollum.
No, I did not do the voice acting for Sparklepuff.
No. I feel like this was the episode. Yeah, I feel like this was the episode where things started to get interesting. It was like the first couple was like, yeah, we see this coming. Yeah, sure. They're all having fun, whatever. But this was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like, it was just everything at once. So, yeah.
Yes.
I have a funny note. When Claudia says, is this a showdown? I out loud said, no, it's an intervention.
Yes.
It's like, they're here to help you.
I said that too.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I'm
Psychology
like,
besties unite.
Intervention. I'm like, oh, okay. They were trying to be funny.
They were trying to be. And I thought that was Lisa at first. I'm so gullible and naive. I was just like, oh, they brought his mother. And I was like, she does look a little bit young.
I did too. And then I'm like, wait, they're at the Moon Nexus. And I'm like, and then when she said too perfect, we're like, oh, they got it. I was right.
Oh, no. But, yeah. So, and then I said, I guess Callum needed Dark Callum there to make a plan and stuff. So, and that Erebos voice acting was good.
Oh, yes.
Very good this season. I mean, other seasons were also pretty good, but this season was just like really into character. Like if we had Dragon Prince Emmys.
From the villain reads I've had to do, it is, I believe for the villain I was, and probably still am doing, it's really easy to be a brutish villain than it is to be a intellectual villain, because being an intellectual villain, you have to mediate your voice to the point where it's like, yes, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but he's so annoying. I have to give Erebos' voice actor some props in the sense of he's made it to where, yeah, this guy is a narcissistic, self-absorbed, justified to a point villain. But it doesn't like, gosh, I can't stand listening to him talk. I like hearing him talk, but I'm also sitting there, I'm like, I know that I'm intrigued by what this guy has to say, but he exudes evil in everything he does. So I do have to give some props to the voice actor on that. In the sense of they made a intelligent evil person tolerable, which is very hard to do, because they can become very annoying really quick because like, okay, oh, my plan, ha 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 ha, evil laughter, ha ha ha. where just a rooting character is like, he's like, yeah, okay, fine. It's like, okay, this guy's going to come up, he's going to stab you, and then he's going to be evil and all this other stuff. He has no plan beyond, I'm just going to crush you. Where this guy is, I'm going to crush you, make the generations after you miserable, yada yada yada, and you're going to hear my entire tragic story about it, and yada yada yada. And they made it work. So good for Erebos as far as that goes. Yes.
Very well done. So, yeah, that was. Oh, and no Sunfire Kingdom. We didn't see Luxaria in this episode.
No, nothing in the Sunfire Kingdom at all.
So, but yep, that was everything from season 6. Nope, chapter 6. So, Crow, you're gonna be taking chapter 7 in chapter 8.
I thought you were doing chapter 7 because I have marks next to 8, and we were tag teaming on 9. Let me check. I have a note.
Maybe I typed it wrong. Hold on, we're checking notes here.
Yep, checking notes. This is normal.
No, I have you 7.
Oh no, I am down at 7. Okay, that's weird. Okay, well, I can definitely try. Let me get my scenes fixed here.
I have a couple notes too. So.
Oh yeah, we if nothing else, we'll figure it out. The Titan and the King, very appropriately named for sure. So we leave off with our Celestial Titan face down in the dirt, deservingly. He did. He deserved it. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so looks like. So after this whole situation, it seems to have escaped, and notes have been passed along. Let's see here. So, of course, we know that Erebos is not destroyed. They're looking towards the future in this. A message from Calm has reached Ezrin, where in the midst of the disagreement, they are now reaching a point where we need to help each other, despite what we are against. You are dropping stuff that you shouldn't be dropping. And then, so now once again, we are going and recruiting dragons. Once again. One of my favorite notes on this: sweets convince everybody, even dragons, because our favorite grumpy boy, Igneous Rex, his uber guards are. He's like, oh, he's not here at all. And then who's behind the door? No one. Go in like 1,000 years or so. Like, oh, but I have this conviction that he might look. I hear someone's learned of my sweet tooth.
Exactly.
And of course, what is it? Moonberry Surprise, where we have the return of our creepy muscle man of a berry surprise. Oh. And then, of course, we are. I think this is also the episode where our favorite celestial elf. Oh, not celestial elf. What was her name again? The one with the wings.
Astrid?
Astrid.
Yeah,
Astrid is like, hi, are you Antamaya? Hi, are you Antamaya? Hi, are you Antamaya? And it's like, it's Queen Amaya.
Hi.
So now, I wrote down for that one, best aunt. It now comes down to convincing Kareem to actually help, in a sense. Yes. So we are. I'm going. There is, just for a record, if you watch the episode and nothing we say in an order here makes any sense, it's because I am completely saying this out of order. But these are the events that happened in this episode, so I at least got that right. geez, I had something that says one heck of a doorbell. What was that? Oh, I know. It was when they were summoning the sea dragon again. That
Oh,
is an
yes.
elaborate system.
Mm-hmm. The minute preventance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, there is dialogue happening between Ezrin and Erebos. He is, as I said, uh, he is captured at the moment. There's, of course, he is discussing the idea of Ezrin's legacy in the sense of his predecessors who actually created the Nova Blade. And of course, there's a lot of. I can't fully remember all of the dialogue. Like I said, this wasn't really an episode I looked in on too much, but pretty much is saying, "Oh, if only you had the Nova Blade," which
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the things that season 7 kind of got. I'm like, okay, so the MacGuffin's there. He makes
Mm-hmm.
this big deal like, oh, if only you had this, and you're like, oh, well, they shouldn't find it because it seems like
Mm-hmm.
he wants it, and they find it, and you're like, why?
Mm-hmm.
So one little about it
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, what was the point of it?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, um, oh, and then this tragedy happens where they are recruiting everybody, even the old sea witch. I love that little gremlin. She's awesome. I can't remember her name to save my life, but
Cute.
yeah, Q. I wrote down for the note seafood soup. Um, as the sea was boiled and was taken out. So I believe I think they said it was Claudia that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So it took her out on that. Ended up having for some reason I cast rock or some, someone someone must have thrown a rock or something that was hilarious, and I wrote down I cast rock. So hang on, I'm looking at scenes. Oh, there was there was another thing for Avatar, another callback to Avatar on this one, where Claudia tries to suck the oxygen out of Column's lungs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is a callback to a scene in Avatar Korra of the death of the Earth Queen. That was very brutal.
Yeah, and that was something she told Callum from like the first season. Is like, I have a spell that can take your breath away and
Yeah,
stuff.
that is a
So.
callback too. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. I wish I knew what I cast rock is.
I have no
But we
idea.
also get to see our old friend Mushroom Man.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I love that guy in the sense of he makes this huge concern about Zubea's health and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, this is great. Nah, she'll be fine. Just bring her back in a couple
I
of days.
know.
How are you?
He had us
Like,
in the
yeah,
first
I'm
half.
like, like you jerk. And then, of course, I think they all end up meeting up at something, and Soren says something about the giant mushroom. He actually has a name for the giant mushroom man, and says, "Oh, look, so and so's here." And he's like, "Who's so and so?" And it just shows the giant mushroom man waving his hands in the background. But this leads into the start of. They do end up finding the Nova Blade after. Yeah, I'm really trying here, folks. After Erebos escapes from his entrapment, and then of course there is the bargain of Callum and Renan, of which will be revealed in time. The sun sets, which leads the creatures of the night to come and release Erebos. Maybe that's where I cast rock comes from. I don't know.
I cast
But then what I entitled "Uh-oh," we see the necromancer has brought back something that a lot of us weren't expecting. Some of us were with how the writing was going. All I can say is you see an eye and it looks very familiar, which leads us into episode 8.
Oh.
Yes, you're super excited about this, aren't you, Bray?
I did want to touch something on
Yes,
episode
please
7.
do. Please
That
do.
was
I get my
interesting.
feet switched.
Okay. So whenever Erebos and Ezran are talking, when they're trying to figure out their Erebos' fate and everything, it was kind of interesting to see that Erebos was like, you know, Callum's already been tainted by dark magic. Why not you come to my side? You know, there's that whole debacle, like, does he lie? Does he tell half truths and all this stuff? I think it depends on the situation and what's going on. But I feel like Ezran has a true heart because he had that chance to, like, go to the dark side so that way he could protect his kingdom and everything. But he chose not to, and Erebos is like, oh, that's so sad. And I wrote, whenever Erebos, like, offers that, he says, come with me. And all I could think of is that, like, one song from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like, come
with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Pretty much. And so it's like dark magic or something.
A world of pure annihilation.
Pretty much, yeah, that's where this is going. So, but yeah, just like that whole, like, you can tell, because at this point, like, Ezran's like fighting within him and himself, like, which path do I take? Like, do I still stay true to myself and my people and my values, or do I go down this darker path and try to, like, separate from elves and dragons and continue that cycle? Because that was something they said season 1, like, we could break this cycle of hate and everything. So
yes,
it was
always his goal.
Yeah. And that's what was established in this episode was, no, I'm not going to go down that path. I'm still going to be like the king that people see me as. So that was very, very important, very key. I almost missed it the first time, but third rewatch, I was like, aha, wait a second.
Yes.
So
you're just being so well behaved, Bob.
He is being so good.
So with episode 8, I believe it's called Dying Light. Yes, Dying Light. We are introduced straight into a battlefield with Astrid, both Queen Amaya and the Queen of the Sun Kingdom, and our favorite bad guy, Kareem.
Oh.
You want to talk now?
Okay, Bray's turn.
Okay. There you go. Have your teether. All right. So I have 3 notes here, and we'll see if anyone can sum up my summary here in these 3 notes. Counting on Kareem. Damn it, Kareem. I kind of wanted that to happen. Okay, to summarize. So they are counting on Kareem to cast a spell to destroy the I don't remember what it's called. It's the orb of sunlight, pretty much. That's the pride of the Sun Kingdom. Or it's like a soul gem or something of that nature. So he is getting that prep. Yes, correct me, why don't you? So during this, he completes it to a point to where he is now, no, now I will, and of course, Erebos is on his way, and he's like, no, I fooled you. I will use this to buy favor with the Titan and all this. And he goes, I am the true heir of this. And stands up in his hand, and
crush.
It is, and of course, the queen is shattered because of it. I mean, she wanted him to that. I mean, he was doomed to death anyway, which like I'm sure if it was by her hand, he'd be fine. But this one, like, she gave him the chance, and he threw it away, and he got annihilated. And then, of course, I write down this is nightmare stuff.
Yeah, this is why the rating went up for the show.
Yeah, this is nightmare stuff because now all of the tainted beasts and night creatures are attacking around. Zim has been able to tap into his powers and is annihilating these dark creatures, at least holding them off until sunlight happens, which obliterates them. Erebos, I don't remember the dialogue completely, but he says a very like poetic line in the moment after he I think it's like either during the scene or like after he has killed Kareem, he says something very poetic. And then then I write down emo elf hot topic rant.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. And then it leads to the reveal of Rex Igneous attacking Aravos and starting to fight him. And of course, I wrote down for that Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gotta say, Rex Igneous's design, I love the character, I love his
Mm-hmm.
design. Um, his attitude, I understand very
Mm-hmm.
much. I wonder if him and Zubea had a thing
I think so.
before
Mm-hmm.
Thunder was in the picture, but
Mm-hmm.
or Azazanthum. I think I said that right, Azazanthum.
That was Andom.
But then what did I write this one for? Damn girl, you lift.
What's that?
uh, I'm trying to figure out what it was because there was something I wrote it for some reason. Um, well, we're gonna ignore that. Oh no, it was no, it's Claudia appears with her scale armor and her I'm going to confront you on this. I don't think they're bat wings. I think they're dragon wings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You have a right to your opinion, but I think they're dragon wings.
I think
Anyway,
before it was bat wings at the moon
it's something.
nexus, and then
They have that look.
look.
Damn girl, you lift is because she is restrained and lifted Rex Igneous into the air because he was attacking Erebos. So then I have Orphan Queen, which they are studying the statue and finding the Star Razor. They like, oh, now we have the powerful MacGuffin. We should be able to destroy him with this. And then, of course, this is a part where I'm like, is this arrogance or is it actually part of the plan with what they're trying to do? I delve more into it if my brain would remember more. But my scenes just went weird. Why? Why'd you do this to me? It's what's helping me.
I know. I will say while you're looking, the
Yes,
scene where Ezrin, Anya, Bane, and Zim are kind of hiding underneath the dragon bones from the night creatures, and like one of them like looks over the top. It kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings, but the ring wraiths. Okay,
the ring wraith over the branch. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, this feels familiar, and then I was like, oh, wait a second. And it's funny too, because Queen Anaya runs out of arrows, which doesn't happen in shows. It's always like, oh, I just more arrows spawn out of nowhere, but she actually ran out of arrows, and I was like, wow.
All right, I did find my spot because it left off at tail smack, which I believe Rex Igneous tail smacks Claudia out of the air and is now free to fight Erebos, and then that leads to Thunder ... Oh no, because we are then revealed the ethereal, ghostly form of Azazanthum, aka Thunder, has returned to the realm and is now fighting on the side of Aravos, who is just he's like, now I control my greatest enemy. What are you gonna do about it? And of course Rex Igneous is like, oh, now he's like, you always were more for fighting things out than talking things out. And big huge fight clashes, and then my heart, Zubea, sees him, and you just hear Azazanthum takes off. I'm like, oh god, what? Don't look at me like that. You'll understand when you're older. Yeesh. It's called love. It's what your mom and I give you every day. And then, of course, Zubea tries to appease to Azazanthum's heart or whatever's left of it, and unfortunately, we lose
Oh, okay.
I'm not. You aren't even old enough to remember it. I'm not spoiling it for you. You'll watch it again. Rex Igneous unfortunately meets his demise, and which apparently with dragons, it seems you either get turned to stone or turned to ash. It's not an easy go. Then we are also at the point of it gets to a point where we're kind of focused on Claudia for a moment. I believe Terry and Soren and Corvus are discussing options to the point of which it makes you just step back and go, can Claudia actually be saved? Oh, and one of the scenes is actually the shock face of Zubea seeing Azazanthum. It is it's right after it's like right after the death of Rex Igneous. Okay, buddy, you want to move a bit? Okay, that's fine. So now at this point, and also I put as a note: should Claudia be saved? That is a question.
That is a question.
You
We'll
want to
probably.
stand up? Yeah.
We'll talk about that in the next episode. About Claudia.
So then it comes down to this, which we all hear about. We've heard in everything of a dark-eyed hero. Now, when you first heard that, who did you think?
I don't know. I didn't think of anyone.
A lot of people thought it was Callum because of dark magic.
Yeah.
Turns out, Azazanthum. Because at this point, we now see, and then I also made a note, there is not enough water dragons represented in media. So it gets to a point where we have reached a high point of things are changing on the battlefield, and we're kind of rolling into episode 8 at this point. So I will episode 9 at this point. So we have Azazanthum on the field, we have Zubea on the field, and we also have the Arch Water Dragon on the field as well. I'm talking like this is a sports game. It's not.
That's awesome. And you also have pretty much everybody else, like
everyone else is on the field except for Kareem. Kareem is thrown all over the field, in a sense.
Yeah, it felt like towards the end of the episode, it was like a Avengers Assemble moment with all the other characters.
Yes. Oh, because we also reached the point of the bargain, in the sense of this is where we are there was a question mark after Dark-Eyed Hero, because this is where Callum is trying to cast the spell, and he's like, oh, you think she won't do it? She loves you. Like, that's not the elf I'm talking about. And we cut to Runan.
Exactly. I nearly screamed. I nearly scrumped. Oh my gosh.
I was on the edge of my seat. Of course, you hear Rayla. No! I love Rayla's no, because there's such a passion in her no when she's upset, and it's like, no, it's like it's almost like you think it's like no, I don't want you to kill him. It's almost like, no, he trusted someone else besides me to do it. And I'm like, oh, that is such a way to look at it. And that wraps up. It's Callum pretty much prepping a spell, and the dragon standing off with Erebos, and as a Xanthem at the end, which leads us into 9. And if there's insights you would like to throw into this, while I get my scenes ready for our dual take on 9, you go right ahead.
Just a couple of notes, because I've been sharing a couple here and there. Yes. The art style did look a bit darker. Of course, we're wrapping up for the final battle. It was definitely very, very dark, very brooding. So, the scene where Kareem I was actually eating like a little piece of apple or something, and as soon as it happened, I stopped eating and I just sat there like, what just happened?
I know, right?
So
there are very few times where it's just that openly brutal about a death. And I remember there was a movie I watched where something to that extent happened,
Mm-hmm.
and oh yeah, it was the frog. It was the Princess and the Frog.
Mm.
Ray the
The
lightning bug.
lightning bug, yes. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe
and he
that.
just gets stepped on.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You know
crazy.
them ladies like a guy with a big back porch. Yes. You laughing at
Oh,
daddy.
laughing. That's so
You
cute.
like it with that though, Ray, don't you? Yeah.
That's
That
funny.
was Peter Cushings who did Ray, who also does
Mhm.
Winnie the Pooh and
Oh,
Tigger. Don't give me any credit for that. I just like doing
mhm,
Ray's voice. It's good.
mhm.
Anyway, but
It's
yeah,
good.
that was the like the other brutal one where Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Facilier just like,
Oh
oh
god.
god.
Oh no. It's like Neo whenever she stepped on Little.
Oh yeah.
Fine nine. Oh.
Yeah.
Let me see. So, and the other thing too, and I had this in my other one, which was Callum tended to blame himself. He got reassurance, and then he came up with a
Mhm.
plan. Ezrin did that apparently in this episode as well. He blames himself for what's going on. He
Mhm.
receives reassurance, and then he comes up with a plan. So
Yes.
it's
And
been
it's a
steady.
reuniting of the two brothers in a
Yeah,
sense.
that's it.
Uh, Not directly, but they both like, yep, we got to put this
Mm,
aside. We got to help each
yeah,
other. This is important.
yeah. So, and then too, Erebos says, "Let there be dark" instead of "Let there
Yes,
be
there's
light."
emo poetic. There's emo poetic hot topic
Yes,
there.
right there. So, because in the Bible it says like "Let there be light," but instead he
Yeah.
does "Let there be dark." So,
Yes.
and I just put Domina Profundus, my beloved. I love her. I love
Oh
her
yes,
design.
Profundus.
We love her.
She is. I, the thing is that I'm surprised that there hasn't been a lot of artwork about this. Maybe I just
Mhm,
haven't looked enough. I love it when people do like the human alternates of a dragon because there's in D&D
mhm.
dragons can have a human form. I would love to see Profundus, Rex Igneous, Zubea, and Azazanthum in like a human alternate form.
Funny
Just just to see the look. It would be neat.
Funny you should mention that because about a year ago I did the Dragon Prince The Sims 4 and I made like human versions of themselves with what I had and
Nice.
stuff. So, but yeah, definitely that would
Can
be
four
interesting.
arch dragons live in one building? Find out today on the Sim 4.
Exactly. I'll have to send you that later on. But yep, that was pretty
Rex
much.
Igneous, I've set the house on fire on purpose.
Claudia nearly set the house on fire like 3 times. I was like so mad, so done with her. And I've done Ruby too, so.
Profundus never leaves the swimming pool.
Oh, yeah. I think I had like a little lake or something in her
Yeah.
bedroom. So, yeah. All right. So we're on to the last episode of
If you want to do
season
the title on this
7.
one, and we'll both tag team
Sure.
on this.
It is called Nova. So
Yeah.
let's see. And it opens up with Cosmo again reciting the poem, but he adds more
Mhm.
to it this time. He says, "Through love finds light in blackest eyes. Everything burns when a star dies."
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Let's see.
told you, emo hot topic poetry.
Exactly. Love it. Let's see. I'm just going to read a couple of notes, and if you want to jump in, more than welcome to do so.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
let's see. So, Ezrin states Destiny works in mysterious ways. Ezrin and Anya talk about the Nova Blade. So, at this point, Ezrin found the Nova Blade, which was in the Valley of Graves. This whole time, I felt like Mrs. Doubtfire. This whole time,
This whole time.
this whole time I was like, really, really, this is too easy. So it's whatever, it's okay. So they talk about the Nova Blade and how this could all be a trap. Which I was thinking of that too. Like it almost sounds like Erebos wants to be defeated because
Yeah.
maybe he could come back stronger. I don't know
Yeah.
how that works. So
Or somehow he would trick the Nova Blade away from them and be able to use it or
yeah.
destroy it. So that now there's
Mhm.
no way to destroy me. Like,
Exactly. So yeah, it
yeah.
seems a bit too easy. However,
Yeah.
Ezrin climbs on Zim and he flies away on Zim, I think for the
Yes,
first
and this is
time.
where we meet Zim Storm Speed.
Yes!
Woo!
Storm speed! Woohoo! So he has like a teleportation spell, so that way they can get to Luxoria, where the battle is taking place. So, at the battle with Erebos, there's a slight recap with Callum saying the lines again. Ezran arrives with Zim with the Nova Blade in hand. Zubeia tries to show Thunder their son, but he is still fighting her. Callum starts the spell before Ezran can use the Nova Blade. Claudia fights Renan, knocking him off. If Callum casts the spell, that means Callum will slip back into dark magic and he will belong to Erebos, which made me think of the Taylor Swift song, like, "You belong to me."
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted. It's fine.
I will say, in this first part, it is so heart-wrenching because Zubeia loved Azazantham so much, and she is pouring her heart out, trying to reach something in him, and I just love that kind of writing. I get everyone. The thing is I'm gonna say I'm 36 years old. I have seen a lot of movies and I've shed a lot of tears over stuff. And in my age now, seeing true compassion and true love for somebody is something that always tugs at me. Buddy, you're being weird. He's like arching over my knee, trying to look at the floor. But just I kind of tried to. You try to put yourself in the scene, and like, what if I was Azazantham listening to my wife saying, "Please come to your senses. This is your son," and having my son.
Oh, right there.
I'm like, gosh, that just. And you're just sitting there like, please come to your senses. And I mean, you and I both know how it turns out, but at that moment you're like, please let there be some hope in this. Let there be something, because she has to confront a ghost of the person she loves the most, and don't go at the computer. It's not yours. If anyone sees we're shaking, it's just because he bopped the computer stand.
He's just looking around innocent, like, me.
If he's like, keyboard.
Let's type.
Yes. But that really hit me with Zubeia. And then, of course, once again, we're met with the whole saving Claudia, which this time it's Erebos. Claudia just has, like, a lot of people just. This can't be good for her psyche, in the sense of the last few times that she's been cast away, it's for her own good. So, dang it, her father. I'm just gonna, because I forgot his name. I wish I had remembered it. I'm trying. Her father at the end cast her away and sacrificed himself. Terry cast her away to try to show her that she is going down a dark path. And now Erebos is casting her through a portal to save her. He's not trying to make her a better person, but he's like, you're dear to me, go away.
Pretty much. This girl's got abandonment issues.
Yes.
If we put lack of a secure attachment.
Yes. So. And then it looks like something happened with Soren and Corvus that was cute.
Yes. I'm gonna go down to that in a minute, because
you go ahead. I've reached my points.
Okay.
I reached my points where you can take over again.
Yeah. The major point of the whole battle, too, is Callum casting the spell to try to entrap Erebos into the coin, despite him going back into dark magic. However, Renan, who was supposed to kill him afterwards, he got knocked off because of Claudia. However, Rayla picks up the bow and arrow, and points it at Callum, and says,
"I love you enough to kill you."
Precisely. Aiming it at Callum, saying that they will sacrifice anything to stop Erebos and stop the world, claiming my heart for Xadia.
Yes.
Which is a callback to season 1, when she made the pledge saying, my heart for Xadia. And Callum is her heart, and it is just...
Meaning she is willing to sacrifice her heart to save the world, which is big, folks. Big. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's not the fact that this is a darker season
Mm-hmm.
than you probably want kids to see. I don't
Yeah.
think kids would get it
Yeah.
in the sense of
That
you and
comedy
I get
thing.
that line
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, it's just this epic scene with a battle cry and all this other stuff." No, she's literally sacrificing her heart for Zadie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
I just wanted to jump on that
yep, you're
point
good.
there.
So
Yeah,
Callum starts
you're
the
good.
spell. It seems to be working. Ezrin and Sim fly towards them. Zube is trying to talk to Avizandum, who she thinks there's still love inside of him. Meanwhile, Erebos looks at all of this and says, "Noble fools are still fools," saying that his time will come. When something lands on his nose, he looks at disgust as the being had flown onto his nose, and Avizandum comes over to attack Erebos.
Yes.
So he comes over, starts attacking Erebos. Ezrin and Sim fly back a bit. The spell is interrupted, and Callum faints a bit, and we see the white tuft of hair. Erebos
Yes.
calls out to Claudia to leave. A portal opens while the dragons start to fight Erebos, and he tells Claudia that he does not want to watch another daughter die. Terry, Corvus, and Soren try to stop them, and then Stella comes to help to open up the portal a bit more. However, Soren and Corvus run in, and they find themselves at the top of the storm spire with Soren nearly falling off, and Corvus says, "I got you."
Oh yeah, that was it. That was it.
That was it.
That was Soren Corvus. Yep. Yep.
Let's
I'm
see.
telling you, folks, it's a ship. It's got to be legit. Come on, it's got something's happening there. It can't just be brotherly love. There's something closer here. I'm going to argue for this ship. It's got to be real.
The amount of times I've argued over different ships, even crack ships. Joanna X May will be a ship. I'm telling you. Let's see. Claudia
Renor
appears.
is never going to work out. You know this.
Excuse you. Off the show. No kidding. Go read my letter.
I have a baby.
Oh,
no, Renor's a great ship.
Renor's amazing ship. So,
yes.
Back to the Dragon Prince. Claudia appears and makes giant rock hands, capturing them, nearly crushing them. She wonders if Soren was going to kill her, and nearly crushes her, but then stops, saying that she is still nice and that she's still herself. The rocks end up breaking, freeing them, and Claudia flies away.
Which again raises the question: is it possible to save Claudia? Has she gone too far? Do we know?
Nobody knows.
We shall see. Won't we, buddy? Won't we, buddy?
All right. So meanwhile, Zubeia and the corruptive Avizandum fly up with Erebos in their talons, and he tries to use the staff, but it falls and shatters on the ground, which causes the sun to appear, and the creatures of the night start to disintegrate.
Including Avizandum.
Correct. Yep. He's also disintegrating. Everyone goes to the bottom of the tower in Lux Aurea, and Astrid says again that when a star dies, everything burns. Domina Profundus arrives, and everyone goes beneath her wings. Zubeia and Avizandum hold on as Erebos delivers one last monologue, saying he would return to a world with no archdragons. Just as corrupted Avizandum bites him, and Erebos starts to shatter, which love the animation in this scene.
Yes.
Zim cries seeing his parents, and Zubeia says her goodbyes. Erebos explodes into a flash of light.
And then, of course, we get to there once were dragons moment in the series.
Oh it was pretty much like the last 10 minutes just to finish off the battle and everything, and then everything else is like after the battle. So
yes, and the thing is I love that I love they have the dragons finish what they initially started. That's in the sense of we are, despite what humanity has done to the world, we are the defenders of this world, and we are responsible for taking care of these issues. And unfortunately, we have lost 4 archdragons again. Then, of course, we are now, and of course, my quote for all this is everything burns, and then the next quote is there once were dragons, which, if anyone knows, that is a great line from How to Train Your Dragons. There
Oh.
once were dragons, but
Mhm.
I can't do my Hiccup Haddock voice very well, but I'm
That's okay.
trying. But anyway, um, so after that happens, a lovely, lovely, just short
Mhm.
musical moment of
Yes.
just the artwork, and of course the return of Corvus on cello,
Woo.
um, playing his sad, hopeful song of the future, which I think is a beautiful song to describe
Mhm.
the entire situation
Mhm.
of what this standoff was, the lighting ceremony of the memorial, and this also leads to the awkward brother talk between Ezrin and Callum.
Yes.
Uh,
Mhm.
and then, of
Which
course, some mage advice from I think it was sage advice is what I was going for. I put mage in
Mhm.
quotes. And
Mhm.
then here we go. Leads to
Mhm.
hugs, and then a voice comes out
Mhm.
that no one's using because the quote for this is "What?"
What?
Dim speaks.
Them speakers.
It's okay.
Oh,
It's
oh,
okay.
it's
Daddy got a
okay.
little loud. Daddy got a little
Oh,
loud. It's okay.
baby.
You're
Mm.
okay. You're okay. You're okay. Zim speaks for the first time.
Mhm.
And did I spoil it for you? You'll forget
Oh.
about it in like 2 seconds. But I think I just got too loud for him. Sometimes I'm a little
Mm.
loud.
Mm. It happens, buddy. You're
But
okay.
but then of course it's what?
Well, yes. And this was
Uh,
after Callum said too that whenever Ezrin was a baby, he broke Callum's favorite toy. And how
yeah.
the mom said, Sarai said, you know, it's okay to be angry, just don't be angry forever. And then starts to apologize and everything. So
Yes.
they
Yes.
rekindle that, which is great.
That's where the mage
Reconnect.
advice came
Mm.
from.
Wow.
Um, so then, of
Yeah.
course, we have a brilliant moment of I think how everything that is coming back from total destruction should be viewed as
Yeah.
why rebuild when you could build something new.
Yes.
I believe that is a good stance for Ezrin to approach in this, where they are trying to come up with a new way of developing a city and all that. And of course, it leads to another Soren moment.
Mm.
Uh,
Yay.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. It's like potato, potato. It's clearly potato. Don't ask him about tomato. It's tomato.
Tomato. With all the
And then
sass.
now I have the name. Uh, the the name of the city. I don't. They are at the new city where they're going to
Mhm.
Everkind.
Okay.
Um, and of course, someone goes, "Oh, look, Gus is here!" Like Gus, it's the giant mushroom.
Mushroom. Yes. Yes.
And so I do write down a few notes saying there is.
Mhm.
They do mention some. There is no such thing as utopia. Uh,
Mm.
truth is that they can change if things can change for the better if given a chance. And then there was something about Runan that I wrote down. Yes, Runan or something. But
Mhm. Is that
then, of course,
whenever? Oh, sorry.
oh yeah, this is talking about Ezrin finally fully forgiving
Mm.
Runan and moving forward. He
Mm.
still kind of states he's like,
Okay.
I'm still upset, I'm still
Mm.
angry, but I
Mhm.
can forgive you.
Mhm.
Uh, it will take time for my anger to leave, but
Mm.
I can forgive you.
Okay.
And then Jin knows I was waiting for this because I'm gonna
Mm.
say it now. I'm saying it now, Jin.
I'm so excited.
I was right because when I first started watching Dragon Prince, well, let's put a little bit of Runan is asked about did my father say anything before he died?
Mhm.
He's like, it was weird. And then of course my brain goes, hmm? And it's like when I entered the room, he turned, he looked at me, and he
Right?
squawked. I'm like, as this is said, I am frantically typing on my phone to Jen. And
Her
he
face
goes,
rather messy.
he squawks like a
It's
bird. And then, of course, like, we've been hearing rumors about a bird that has been talking, or like,
Mhm.
and I said, I
I knew it.
I knew it. And
Oh,
then this part being one of the cutest things ever is you get your little moment with Callum and
oh.
Rayla kind of just talking about the future and stuff like that, and taking a
Mhm.
moment to just kind of come back
Yeah.
from everything.
Mhm.
With all the stress, Callum wants to do something sweet for the girl he loves, and we get the Glow Toad Parade
Yeah.
surprise. Which I only have one question about this thing. Who's steering the raft? Is
Magic.
anyone going? Is, Magic, shut up. Because that kept going down the river. I
I
never
don't.
saw them towards the show. Sure. So,
Oh, gosh. They made it eventually. So.
yes. So, as far as I have to say, as far as final thoughts
Mhm.
on Volume 7,
Yes.
all in all, it's good. It does do a good wrap up. There are a lot of open ends, I will
Mhm.
say. Is there a future for dragons? Is Zim truly the last dragon? Um, was there any use for the star for the
Mhm.
Nova Blade at all?
Mhm.
It was it just a curve point that the writer's like, oh, well, we have this in here. Oh, well,
Mhm.
we couldn't take it out, but it's still here. Maybe something. Um,
Mhm.
is Erebos really going to come back? Is
Yeah.
what's going to happen to Callum and Rayla? Will there be 10 kids? Who knows?
It's
Watch
a
us.
lot of
We'll do five.
openings.
We'll do five.
Yeah.
There's a lot of open-endedness, which I'm glad that the
Mhm.
production company is hopeful that that's a possibility that they will be relit for a next saga, so to speak. Because if you look at it this way, um, you got oh, the little guy's
Mm.
tuckered
Interpret that.
out. You look at it, he there's the Dragon Prince, which is the
Mhm.
first saga of this series, and then there is the Erebos saga. What's this next saga going to be? Is it going to be the Zim saga? Is it going to be the Everkind saga? Uh,
Mhm.
what are we looking at? And I have to say, it's very there is no absolute ending to this at the moment.
Mhm.
I think this would I be happy with this being the ending?
Mhm.
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
There's a lot still open that I don't think that they could just explain. If I went to a con with these guys explaining the stories, like, well, this, and this, like, well, I don't think a book could end this
Mhm.
or wrap this up. You kind of need to give
Yeah.
us another
Or
season,
something.
maybe not a full 9 episodes, but
Yeah.
maybe
Like a mini
maybe a
episode.
2 hour special or something to.
Dragon Prince movie. Let's go.
I mean, is it going to be a next generation saga? Is Callum Rayla's children?
Okay.
Does
Some
is
questions.
it possible that Ezra and Anya get together? That's been something that a lot of people been saying. I don't see any real
Mm,
connection there,
I
but
don't either. Mm, I don't know.
does the ship that I'm furiously fighting for actually happen? Soren
Lots of
and
questions.
Corvus.
Lots of questions. Mm,
What happens to the sneaky little sky elf that tried to bushwhack everyone in the desert? Does she get her
mhm.
come up? Oh, no, she got her come up,
Yeah.
but she, Nick's then she gets a best friend
Mm-hmm.
that's a blind ship captain.
Blind pirates with
I
narcolepsy.
love that guy so much.
There you go.
Like, you're blind, you're more blind than you think you are. What?
I love it.
Yeah,
Mm,
Brave being cute and sleeping on my shirt.
I see you. Oh,
He's
so
even though
sleepy.
Daddy, oh, he jumped a little bit. Okay,
Yeah,
you're fine.
so just to wrap up some final thoughts about the season and the episode. So yeah, so Callum wakes up Rayla blindfold, says like, do you trust me? She says, I do. leads her to the
Aladdin.
bridge. It's very Aladdin based, I was
I
thinking.
can show you flow
Door.
toads.
So, but yeah, so we made like this little
Just
cute thing
ignore
for
they're floating down the river. Stella will get them back. Stella will get them back.
Stella's got the portals. There you go. There's your answer. So, but
Must
yeah,
not be a very deep river because those
I don't
flow
think
toads
so.
are really risking it.
Yeah, if there's no monsters nearby. But yeah, so Rayla thinks it's ridiculous. Callum says, thanks, I think. I think that's in a good way. She asks,
Yeah.
what do I love about you? And she
Oh,
says,
to
everything.
anyone out there in a romance where someone says
Everything.
that stuff you do is ridiculous, usually if someone's saying it and they're smiling and laughing
Mhm.
with you, they mean it in the best way possible. They
Okay.
do not mean it as an insult, because my wife has said I am ridiculous, and
Yeah.
every time it's always been from the heart that she says it. So
Mhm.
yes, dude,
Yep.
that is an appropriate response. She was not
Mhm.
being mean. People, get
No,
off Rayla. I don't care what Reddit says. Rayla's a nice girl.
she's very sweet. Yes, she's grown a lot. They've all grown a lot. So,
Yes. Yes.
let me see some little fun facts about the show. So, in that last episode, there were some 2D characters that were actually from the game The Dragon Prince Sadia. So, if you see like some 2D characters, we were missing some characters though. We were missing Ellis and Ava, which were from season 1 and season 2. The little girl with the wolf and everything. They were supposed
Oh
to be at the
yeah.
ceremony. You see like a big opening. That's where they're supposed to fit in. However, they ran out of time to put them in there. That would have been amazing to see, and I'm so upset about that. But anyway,
Yeah.
let me see. We also see the
Do you
map.
think do you
Oh,
think
God.
when do you think when uh Moonpool lady got stabbed that
Mhm.
they were alerted by it, by so and so's leg disappearing? Uh
I don't know.
I wonder if that's how our magic works.
I don't know.
Oh wait, no, it was a gemstone around her neck. Never mind. I forgot.
It's okay.
I forgot. All right, continue.
All right. So we also see a like little paper of a map of the continent with the key of Erebos next to it. And apparently, whenever you roll the key of Erebos in different parts of the continent, different sides show up. I'm hoping that gets explained in later seasons. There's a little bit on the Wikipedia, on the wiki page and stuff, but I'm curious to see how that plays out. So, and also too with the last scene of the Dragon Prince, season 7, episode 9, we see Leola's constellation and her last wish, which
Yes.
is, I wish that even in the dark, sad, afraid, alone, that every child should know you are loved.
Yes.
And that was
Yes.
so good.
Absolutely.
It was my Discord status
Absolutely.
for a while until Springy said something funny, and then I changed it. I might change it back. We'll see.
That
Um,
is something I would love in just
yeah.
like a placard or something that I could just keep on the wall.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
'Cause no one should ever feel that they're alone in the dark.
Yeah.
Everyone should be seen. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
they're right, little buddy.
No. Just
Everyone can see him. The light reflects right off his head.
you know.
Got this nice rusty hair. Gets
So
apparently.
cute.
Yes, he's adorable.
Nice.
He's
So most of my notes I've been saying throughout. We have to wait at least 7 years for the next bit of it, is what Claudia was saying towards the end. I'm hoping it doesn't take 7 years to get greenlit and everything, so
yeah.
that would suck. A lot of full circle moments. The Heart for Zadia, the book with the Destiny quote, Zim talking was kind of funny but much needed.
Did Zim sound like Callum to you?
So the voice actor for Zim is actually the voice actor for Zuko.
Wait, no, I met him.
Go check the wiki. It's in there.
I met him.
Yeah, that's Zim's new voice actor.
Dante?
Yeah.
Dante's, god damn it.
They brought him back.
Why did you tell me Dante?
This is new.
Rufio is Zim. My gosh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Dante Bosco is
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. Oh man.
Yes. So let me see. I talked about the graphic novel. Was a bit confused, like why are they releasing this now? But it kind of makes sense. That tie-in, build up where it started, now it faltered type of thing. So Let me see. So by episode 6, that's when things start getting interesting. It's very hard trying to keep up because that's where all the action is. Kind of getting more answers, like what the fandom speculator wanted to see, like the bird. You know, Crow, I told you wrong, and I saw the message, and you're like, you told me wrong. I was like, I didn't know, but the bird actually contained
Oh,
Harrows. Like it
actually,
wasn't.
your first statement was you're done already because
Oh,
I just started watching it.
yeah.
Like, you're done already? I'm like, I had
Mm-hmm.
it on while I was at work, and I'm.
I know, I spent all morning binging the season, so yeah, but yeah, like the bird, just like different things like
Yeah.
people want to see, like Athari and Runan. I mean, I wanted that. I wanted an Athari Runan reunion. So
Oh yes.
yeah, it definitely seemed like, and Lisa, like finally seeing Lisa and everything, even though it wasn't the real Lisa, but like getting to
Mhm.
see her animated and everything. So here's
Yeah.
something that's interesting that I wanted to ask you, and I asked Miko-chan last episode, which was, you know how Viren, Soren and Claudia's dad,
Yes.
Viren wrote that letter explaining like what happened uh, and everything. Do
Yes.
you think Soren's reaction would be different if he had the letter? Like, would he have told Claudia, like, you know, our mother left because of this and that, if he had known?
Um, Jog my memory again. Did Soren read it?
He didn't read it. Viren
Yeah.
was like, never
So
mind.
I would say if in the instance that Soren was able to put his rage aside
Mm-hmm.
and read that letter, I think he probably would have been a bit more on the idea of maybe we should
Mm-hmm.
try to see about reconnecting.
Yeah.
Maybe, but at this point,
Mm-hmm.
Soren is kind of in a despite the goofball he is in a very sensitive state. He's
Mm-hmm.
worried about his sister. He just lost his dad, who
Mm-hmm.
he is bitterly angry at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, has broken away from his father, who now is who the and I have to say, despite Soren being justifiably angry, his dad left letting him know that he was super proud of him.
Yeah.
Despite Soren not wanting to talk to him at all, every
Mm-hmm.
time he went and delivered his food, Viren was like, I really wish it wasn't like this. I want
Yeah.
you to know how much you mean to me and all this other stuff. But justifiably, Soren is not ready to accept that. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, his father, though, makes a noble sacrifice, which, number one, whoever was writing for Viren, good on you. That guy
Yeah.
deserved that. Yes,
Yeah.
he did some bad stuff, but in the end, after you see his full story, you kind of understand it. And this seemed like the appropriate way for Viren to end.
Yeah.
And
That's very
uh,
good.
I will not say could Viren have been redeemed? No, absolutely not. He's done too much bad.
Mm-hmm.
Does is this a suitable way for him to be like, yeah, he did bad stuff, but in the end,
Mm-hmm.
he actually showed that he wanted to change, and I can accept that about Viren. Would it have? Do I think real Lisa and that letter could have helped sway Claudia?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
Maybe. It's hard to say.
maybe, but with Erebos in her ear and
Mm,
kind of being the new surrogate dad,
yeah.
I think she'd feel more anchored towards Erebos to where
Mm,
I don't think it would have been a strong enough pull to get her away from Erebos,
mm,
unfortunately. I
okay.
think as much as I would love Claudia to be savable, some
Mhm,
people can go so far that they
yeah.
just can't. And that's where the tragedy in this is. It doesn't
Mhm,
like she said, I'm not a bad person. I'm
mm,
still Claudia,
mhm,
but this is my path. And that's just how it is, where I hate to use this example, where a mother of a serial killer is like,
mhm,
it's still my son,
yeah.
and but yeah, he's done horrible things. He's still my son, but I can't change that he's done horrible things. And so in this sense, Claudia's done horrible things, but
Mm,
she's still Claudia. She still cares about people, but it she is like, but this is me. And so unfortunately, it would
mm,
be a lot of work for Claudia to even be seen as redeemable. I
mhm,
honestly think it's probably going to be a blaze of glory ending or a blaze of
mhm.
tragedy ending for her.
Yeah.
Uh, in my opinion, it would take
Mm,
a lot of
mm,
writing, and it'd have to be
mhm.
very good writing
Yes.
to change Claudia,
Mhm.
because it would have to, it couldn't be like, okay, she's on our side now. No,
Mhm.
she would
No,
have to
they
face
didn't say.
consequence. She would have to
Mhm,
struggle to for redemption. She
mhm,
would have to deal with the outside being against her and
mhm,
redeeming herself in their eyes,
mm,
and all that. There would be, it would, I think you would need 3 more seasons to redeem Claudia,
mm, mhm.
is my
Okay.
opinion. It would be a lot. So
Mm. No,
yeah,
thank you for
I,
sharing.
I hope
So,
that answered
yeah,
your
no, that was awesome. So, thank you
yeah.
sharing all that. So,
As someone who's written tragic characters, it is
yeah,
yeah, it's
a lot of
not
work.
easy to just go, okay,
Mm,
we're good now. No.
yeah, no,
I
so,
mean, even my character from
mhm,
Shattered Knights, when
mhm,
they sat me down with him, I'm like, don't I know he's a guy who does bad things, but is he
mhm,
truly evil? And they
yeah,
sat down like, it's not that he's evil, he just has a
mhm,
different view. And I'm like, okay, so
mhm,
he's on the wrong side, but
mhm,
he views it as the right side because
mhm,
no one's given him a chance to prove himself
mm,
in this sense. So now he's proving, look, this is what you rejected. This is what you did. And now I've done it, all this, and you all who thought you were better than me are now fearing me.
mhm,
And we know that in well, I can't really reveal anything, but
yeah,
from what you and I've talked about,
mm,
my character has a very tragic story that
very
happens.
tragic.
And
Mhm,
uh, we ain't gonna spoil anything because we don't know if the project's going through or not, but I've read the story of how my character's progression goes, and
mhm,
I like, you could sit there and go, I wish he could have been, I wish he
yeah,
could have been seen the way he wanted to be seen instead of having to be like this. And I love that about that character. And I'm like, I really hope that the writers let me help with this
yeah.
character.
Hope they do. So,
Yeah.
a lot of
But
good insight.
yeah, but yeah, Claudia is a huge,
Mhm,
is a just a cat's cradle of
mm,
story that needs to be unraveled carefully if they're
yeah.
going to try to do that.
Mm,
Um, or else it's just going to be a blaze of glory or a blaze of tragedy for her end. So
mm,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, thank you for entertaining my questions.
of
So
course,
it's just
of course.
something that was gnawing at me. So yeah, I'll just wrap
And
up with a couple other little things. I do
sure.
hope that they have like novels or like reflections, like those short stories of just like small moments that either
Oh yeah,
happen in the series, like Terry's
I would love a
dream.
short story of the
Mhm,
description of
mhm.
Moonberry Surprise.
Same.
Yes.
How that came to be.
I don't care if it's 3 chapters. I want to
Mhm.
know Callum's like different people's experience of Moonberry Surprise. Like maybe Rayla, Callum. It's
Mhm.
like
We know it tastes better coming up in
Igneous
the.
Rex.
Oh gosh,
I want
yes.
to know Igneous Rex's experience of Moonberry
Mhm.
Surprise.
Oh goodness. Let me
This is a story
see.
from the late Igneous Rex.
Yes. And then I put, well, I think I mentioned it too. Eternal Night, Welcome Back Morgana. That's from Troll Hunters, which I did about a year ago on this channel. Reviewed all
Yeah,
of that, so I was like, yeah.
I stopped off of the first series of that before it went to the outer space and the medieval times
I
versions and all
watched
that other
all of it and then had to go back and
wow.
rewatch for all my notes, and I was like, I'm going to
Wow.
suffer.
Wow.
So yeah, it's up there.
I love that
Um,
they had
yeah.
like so many like big voices in
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, they had Kelsey Grammer, they had, I think they had Ron Perlman in it. Um they had a lot of, like big name voices in there and like
Mm-hmm.
well-known voices in there that you normally wouldn't have. And so, but anyway, we're detracting from where we were.
The only other thing was I noticed the camera angles in the Dragon Prince season 7 kind of reminded me of Ruby Volume 9, like that first person point of view, especially with
Oh yeah,
Renan's character. It would have been cool to see like other characters. Maybe there was Terry, I can't remember, but like the first point of view and stuff kind of
oh
reminded
yeah,
me of that.
the
And I was like,
the first person POV, yeah.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty
And
cool.
again, I have to the despite Kareem being just a little moron, the lighting scenes for him,
Mm-hmm.
it's if you weren't someone who knows like the argument that's going on there of trying to redeem someone who doesn't want to be redeemed, that whole lighting thing, you're like, well,
Yeah.
they just won't put him in the light, will they? They just won't put him in the light. Or you and me watch it like he's
Oh,
conflicted.
yeah. He
They
doesn't
only
know.
show half of him in the light, half of him in the dark. He's
Mm-hmm.
conflicted.
Yeah.
And when he finally just kneels down and rests his head on Miana's stomach, you're like, okay, he's now a bit more in the light. So maybe this is the redemption. We aren't sure. And then, of course, he ends up being a moron and just, I'm equal. You may be tall, but I'm just as powerful. Like, yeah, you tried.
You tried. So, yep.
I think the third time I watched through, I'm like, way to go, Kareem. Yay.
Claps all around. So,
That's probably when I was like, yeah, he deserved it. Terrible.
Alright. Yeah, so let me see. That was all of my notes for the season, the series. It's a great series. I will say for parents out there, if you want your kids to watch, I would let them watch the first 3, and then whenever they turn like a mature 14, 15, 16, you can
Or if
watch
you
the other
feel
one.
that they have a grip on the series at that time or
Yeah,
show an understanding, I would watch it with them.
yeah, I would
Um,
do that.
for sure, because
Be careful.
I'm going to tell you, kids are smarter than you think. Kids can grasp a concept pretty easily.
Mhm.
And if the only reason you want it, I'd say if you don't want to watch this with them and it's because you only want to put this on for them to watch so that they're, I
Background
hate to say this, want them out of your way. Well, number one,
entertainment for now.
this is a series that I think
Mhm.
parents should watch with their kids in the sense of it's got
Yes.
great storytelling. It's got great stuff that even the parents will go, me being 36, I go, "Ha, that's great."
Yeah. I love shows
And
like that. Bluey's
And then,
becoming
of
one of them.
course, yeah, I mean, I watch Bluey for crying out loud. This guy doesn't
Mhm.
understand Bluey, but he understands
Mm,
what a mom is in the sense
mhm,
of where if
mhm,
his mom's not home and he hears Chili on the TV, he's like,
mhm.
huh, huh,
Oh, aw.
huh. I'm like, yep, like you know what a mom is, and I'm like,
Mhm. Yeah, that's cute.
and then
Mm,
he'll, but if I
mhm,
was to watch this with Bray, and I probably be like he number one, if he watched through the whole thing, he'd probably
mhm.
watch the first 3 seasons on his own. And
Yeah.
even if I'm there watching it, and
Mhm,
then after that, he'd probably lose interest in the
yeah.
last few ones. Then when he's older, he'd come back and want to watch the whole thing again.
Mhm,
And he'd sit there, he's like, oh, I don't remember this. I'm like, yeah,
mhm.
well, this is what's happening in this scene and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you can see how it's projected here. And he'd probably take a big
Mhm,
interest in that.
mhm.
Maybe,
Think
who
so.
knows? But
Yes.
yeah. And it's kind of like when I'll tell you, when
Mhm,
Avatar: The Last Airbender was popular, I
mhm,
was, of course, going through a phase of, well, if it's popular, I don't want to be part of it because then I
mm.
have to deal with people.
Yeah.
Um, then I went back and watched the whole thing. I'm like, I
Mhm,
missed out on something good. And then the
mhm,
book, then it was after Mako passed away, that
yeah.
they finally released Fire,
Mhm,
and I watched Fire, and
mm,
I'm like, this is good writing. I'm like,
mhm,
how do they replace Mako though? And then they did
mhm,
find someone who did very well to
mhm,
replace him.
mhm,
I do love that the guy refuses to sing Iroh's
yeah.
song.
Mhm,
He's like, that is Mako's thing. That is not my
mm,
thing.
mhm,
Um, but again, I will say, if you are a fan of the Last Airbender and
mhm.
that kind of style of stuff,
Yes.
watch this. It is
Watch this.
great. There are
And then get the
references,
third arc.
especially Boomerang.
Right?
I love that
I
one
love
so
it too.
much. Uh, because I remember that scene came up and I messaged you and I'm like, did they just put a boomerang reference from Lavatory?
It's like, yes, they
And
did.
she's like, is it on the Sand Strider? And then like,
Mm.
yeah. And he's looking at it like it's an old friend. And he's like, and she's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. That
that's it.
I'm like, and I think my ending quote was, "Damn it, Jen."
You remember me. Surprised you remember those conversations because I don't remember
I
that.
I love I love the conversations of just my shock because, as I said, the whole "I told you so" at the end of volume 9, I remember vividly.
Oh my
I
God.
watched the first episode because Jen really wanted to know my input on it because we
Uh-huh.
had just started working together, and she's like, "You should watch The Dragon Prince. I think you'd really like it."
I
And I
remember that.
started watching it, and I'm like, "Okay, so the king's the bird, isn't he?" And she's like, some people think that, but I don't think that's really
Yeah.
it. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of a shame. I'm like, oh well.
Forget about it until
So in the
recently.
back of my head, it's been nestled back there. I'm like, well, Jin's watched this more than me, so maybe she does know. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
fine,
fair.
fine, fine. Then volume 9 rolls around, and like, and I just hear I see the king turn around, wide eyed, go, ah! And I'm like,
Oh gosh,
I'm like,
that's funny.
Jin!
I have to tell you something.
I think it was
Oh
all
gosh.
text. Jen, I was right.
I think I wasn't at work yet, or else I would have been like, can you excuse me for a moment?
I was laughing so I was at my desk and my coworker was like, "What are you so excited about?" I'm like, "I won an argument several
Wasn't an
years in a
argument.
row." It wasn't really an argument. It was more of a discussion.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was right about something that someone said, "Nah, nah,
I wasn't
don't think
saying
about it
like
too much.
it wasn't possible. I'm just like, it's too obvious. There's no way. They
It's too
didn't show it. I'm
yeah."
just like, it's whatever. And then as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, well, I was wrong. I'm about to be told off by several people. It's fine. It's cool.
Sure enough.
I'm
It's
not
like,
right about
"Hey, buddy,
everything.
guess what?"
I think my apprehension with that is they'll find the bird, King Harrow, if you will. And now he's going to come back. Well, is he going to be king again? What about Ezra?
No,
Like,
because, he doesn't have a body anymore.
yeah, so it's kind of like, and Ezra's growing as a king.
So
He's
I'm
growing
not
this
too
kingdom.
I
So
mean,
it's
a
like,
lot of people on
so
Reddit that for anyone
Mhm.
no one get at me. Yes, I would when I was doing my research on this, as you can see,
Me
I
too.
didn't
Yeah,
do enough. Um,
it's okay.
I was looking for summaries, and of course, it led me to
Mhm.
the dark dank swamp that is Reddit. And people are like, well, geez, now that the king's got his soul in a bird, that totally destroys the fact that these boys went through loss and all this other stuff and all that. I'm like,
Mhm.
it doesn't really take away from that
No,
because
it
they still
wouldn't.
lost their dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's trapped in the body of a bird.
And who's to
And
say that once they find him, maybe he's completely bird brained or something, and maybe
it's
he can't talk and
possible.
stuff. So,
Or I mean, there's no cognitive way to bring him back to a body.
yeah.
Um, and now they have to accept the fact that their father is now this entity.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible that he like becomes an advisor to his son? Maybe.
Maybe.
Like, I mean, it'd be kind of interesting at the royal court. Like, what do you think, oh bird?
Oh, bird.
Well, I think that you should manage the farming industry as like this. Like, is that bird really talking about farming industry? Like, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that would be pretty funny. So,
It'd be funny, but I mean, there's ways to make it work. It doesn't destroy everything that Ezrin and Callum went through. They'd still not have their dad in the sense of
mm,
having a dad.
mm,
Um, and the thing is that if it did, number one, it's I think it's kind of on the lines of the last Bluey episode that happened that got everyone
mm,
really outraged of like
yeah,
moving should they should have moved. They should have
yeah,
moved.
they should.
Spoilers. They should have moved. Um, and because now I have to explain to my kids why we're still moving, but Bluey
But
didn't.
Bluey did it, yeah, yeah,
Well, number one, Joe Brum explained why. He's like,
yeah.
because I wanted there to be a happy ending, and
Hmm.
in short, he says it's my show.
Yeah. My show, my
My
rules.
show, I
Yeah.
wanted a happy ending, and I honestly enjoyed it.
I
Now,
loved
if
it.
I was moving and with Bray and that he
Mhm.
saw the episode, he's like, "How come Bluey got this?" I'm like, "Because Bluey and
Mhm.
their parents were able to work it out so that it still worked for them.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
going somewhere better that
Mhm.
will help in the future." Which
Mhm.
I am ready to take on that fight if I have to. But so many
Yeah.
people were outraged at that,
Mhm.
and I think you guys are making a big deal out of nothing.
I know.
Um,
They said
and I'd still
mhm.
say, and I mean, people are like, it destroys all of the emotional journey they went through. I'm like, no,
Mm.
it doesn't. They
Yeah.
still lost their dad.
Mhm. Yep.
And it's also just a bit of writing, like,
Mm.
oh, there's a relief of, oh, he's okay. But now I'm like, but I don't have him still. I mean, it's
Mhm.
still a loss. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they
It's
could, if it was so easy to bring back the dead, they would have brought their mom back. But no. So,
oh, so
and the thing is, I have
yep.
to give the king a lot of credit that
Mhm.
if anyone deserves the "I'm not the stepdad, I'm the dad that stepped
Dun,
up"
dun.
T-shirt, it is him because he
Fan art.
he did it in a sense of he wanted Callum to accept him. He
Mhm.
didn't ever force himself to be accepted by Callum.
Mhm.
He eased himself into it. He
Yeah.
learned what Callum's interests were. He gave him books. He gave him journals.
Sketchbook.
He
Mhm.
allowed him to explore his own creativity. He never put huge tasks upon him except what was expected of a prince. Um, and he
Mhm.
consoled him at the loss of his mother.
Mhm.
He never once pushed Callum away or rejected Callum, and that's why I say the winner of the dad that stepped up
Mhm.
shirt it has got to be the king.
Mhm.
And now, if I have to say best dads ever, it's got to be Runan and Athari because those two. The thing is, number
Mhm.
one, first off, Athari still cares deeply for Rayla in the
Mhm.
sense of he breaks the curse temporarily to see
Mhm.
his daughter
Yes.
and is nice and accepting enough that he goes along with Callum's portrayal of
Mhm.
of a Earthblood elf, even though he's like
That's it.
Rayla's obviously going, he's human, right? It's like,
Mhm.
no, he's
He's
a
an
blood elf.
earthbound. Yeah.
What are you talking
Pleased
about?
to meet you and all this stuff, and Rayla's just like,
Please, me,
don't.
don't
Don't.
encourage him. And then through all that, Runan coming back and
Mhm.
being so number one, some people are like, "Oh no, he's only accepting because he's so desperate to go see Athari." No,
No.
he's willing to accept the fact that Rayla loves Callum and all that, and of course we get the witty Rayla.
Rayla.
Like, I thought you knew. Like,
Mhm.
no, I mean this. Like, I don't care that you're with him. I care that you didn't tell me something.
I know. Something very, very good.
Priorities, Renan, priorities. Like,
Mhm.
beautiful. So I have to give the reward to that for sure. Now, let's see. Cutest couple. Here we go. Here come down the questions. Cutest couple of the whole series. Who do you think? You first.
Oh, me. Oh, okay.
Yes, you first.
Cutest couple of the series, Callum and Rayla.
I have to
Obviously.
agree, but I gotta give a close second to Renan and Athari
Yes.
because it's
Mhm.
just so genuine.
It
And
is.
then coming in third, I have to say is it's kind of a tie for third because
Mhm.
Terry and Claudia is adorable,
It is.
but so if it is, Corvus and Soren
Yes.
are adorable too. You gotta, I mean, come on.
Hope so. Terry plays matchmaker in Arc 3.
Yeah.
I can make that fanfic for you.
I will say this. Terry is handled very well for what
Yes.
Terry represents.
Mhm.
For those of you who do not know, and I don't think this could actually be classed as a spoiler because some people may not get the reference at all.
Mhm.
There is a line Terry says that I was always seen as a doe, but I always saw myself as a buck. For
Mhm.
us who know,
Mhm.
for us who know, uh, Terry is a F to M transition.
Mhm.
And that is what that phrase means, and has become content with who they are and accepted of
Mhm.
who they are. And Claudia doesn't care. She's like,
Mm.
you are who you are. You are Terry.
Yeah.
Oop,
Oh,
little
you're
guy
waking
kind
up.
of.
Mm.
And I'm like, I think Terry was handled very well. And no one ever misrepresents them or any type of
Mhm.
conflict like that. It wasn't like, as
Mm.
some types of media say, they're bashing us over the head with this.
Mhm.
No, it's just like there was one phrase he says to
Mhm.
Viren,
Mhm.
and Viren goes, "I think you are I think you are a strong young man,"
Mhm.
and so, and
You're
that's
strong.
it.
Mhm.
No beating over the head, no dragging it out, no
Yeah.
conflict with people who are like, "Hey, you're
Mhm.
so and so," dead naming
Mhm.
or anything like
Mm.
that. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's handled so well
Mhm.
that I don't think even, well, I'm sure the staunchest right-minded person would probably go all ape
Yeah.
crap about it. But
Mm.
um
Mm.
I love how they handled Terry. Terry was handled very well.
Like,
Um Most frustrating character
it's
for
frustrating.
you. Yeah, most frustrating character.
It's like Kareem, but I think it's also Janai, especially towards the end when she's just like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm not gonna kill him. He's gonna help. Oh, wait, he betrayed us." It was like, Janai, sweetie, open your eyes.
For the comedic effect, Anya. Um
Yes.
because at the end she just seemed so eager to help. It seemed odd to me.
Well,
But I have
remember
to,
the kingdom
yeah.
helped them whenever they had the frozen lands and
Yes,
stuff.
I do
So
remember that,
yeah.
but when it got to, like, it almost seemed like, because Ezrin was so angry,
Hmm.
that it almost seemed like she was like, "I'm now his friend,"
Yeah.
and it almost seemed like she
Hmm.
could have taken advantage of him in his
Oh,
state of being
no.
angry,
Hmm.
is kind of how I read her at that moment. But
Hmm.
when she comes in, and of course, all the little details I picked out of how unmined that crystal looked and how very little of those weapons are implemented in her own army,
Yeah.
that I'm like, okay, she's not evil. She just somehow, just for some reason, it seems sketchy that way.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I have to agree, Kareem is very frustrating in the
Hmm.
sense of like, can't you accept the
Shut up.
fact that someone's trying to be nice to you and it's not some game?
Hmm.
But then
Okay.
also, I have to say, Nyx kind of got on my nerves a bit.
Oh,
Even though I
really?
really love Nyx's design
Hmm.
and her personality,
Hmm.
just that she keeps pushing it
Mm.
after she's like, "Oh, you got me,"
Yeah.
and then like, "I'm still gonna try," but "Oh, you
Hmm.
got me again," I'm still gonna try. "Oh, you got me again!" Like,
Hmm.
stop! Oh,
Yes,
you
back
little
and
cutie
forth.
ball. Oh,
Mm.
he's being adorable.
Hi,
There we go. Did
sweetie.
you enjoy your nap?
We got a good
Did you
nap.
enjoy your nap? He
Yeah.
had a nice nap. He's kind of he's like,
Mm.
"Whoa."
Hello.
Uh, but he had a nice little nap there.
Um,
But no, but I do think Nyx kind of brings herself
mhm.
back in a bit, and seeing her at the end was pretty neat, and all that. Of course, our favorite blind pirate.
Yes.
Um, Now that's another one. Favorite
Mm.
NPC or
NPC.
secondary character.
Mm. That one's hard.
There's so many, I
There's
know.
so many. It's like, I liked Gren's character a lot. Just goofy, little
Hmm.
side character, cinnamon roll, can't do no
He
wrong. I like
I
him.
mean, I love the baker. I do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because he has such a metamorphosis from this grumpy old guy to,
Yeah.
oh, this kid who pesters me, now the king,
I
but now he's
know.
giving me this important role, and now I'm actually a man of status in the town.
Mm.
But also, I have to say, for some reason, I love. I can't really. Can I really call Zubea a secondary character? Um,
Mm.
I kind
Mm.
kind of mostly I due to screen time maybe, but
Mhm.
she does seem to have a bit of importance.
Yeah.
Um I love all of the arch dragons. Their designs are amazing
Demena
and
Profundus is my favorite.
their voices
Mm.
are beautifully chosen.
Mhm.
Thunder sounds like what thunder would sound like.
Mhm.
Igneous sounds gravelly and gruff and
Mhm.
patient yet annoyed.
Yeah.
Like there's a pressure behind his patience
Mhm.
that you can hear in his voice. He's like, if you don't satisfy me, I am going to just go all out on you. And Zubea has a very kind, motherly voice.
Mhm.
And you're gonna have to say the name again because
Ocean
because
dragon,
yeah, the ocean dragon.
Domina profundus.
Yes, Domina Profundus has a very oceany like voice
Mhm.
where it flows very softly and has purpose. It's very well chosen. Um, I really have I'm not really I don't like saying that the dragons are secondary characters, but
Yeah.
they are my favorite characters
Mhm.
uh, that are their design and voice wise are just brilliant.
Now we have Zim's voice and
Yeah, Dante
everything.
Bosco. Dang. Love Dante
And I
Bosco.
did
So
do like
yeah.
a fan thing where I tried to voice Pyrrha the dragon and stuff. That
Uh-huh.
was about a year ago. I did like a little voice acting segment with just
Uh-huh.
her and everything. So if
I
you want to
will
catch
say I have met Dante Bosco in person, and he
mm-hmm.
is such a nice guy.
That's
Especially because I met him in full cosplay,
ooh.
and he is like a huge Halo fan. So I
Oh.
came up in full cosplay. He's like, "No way!" I'm like,
That's
"Can I
awesome.
get your personal opinion on this? Is this Bangarang?" He's like, "This is Bangarang. This is awesome."
It's awesome.
Because I'd gotten his line and he canceled the first night because something came up. But
Mm-hmm.
the guy who was running his booth, he's like, "Give me your names and let me get a good look at your faces. If I see you guys tomorrow, I'm pulling you straight to the front of the line." I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Okay." So I got in line because I'm in full cosplay. The guy's not going to see my face. And then, of course, my cosplay's getting hot. I take my helmet off and he sees me. He's like, "You come here." I'm like, "Uh-oh." He's like, "I told you, come to the front of the line." And I'm like, "I didn't know." He's like, "I told you." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, and then he, of course, explained to everyone, like, this guy was here yesterday. He waited for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
I promised him he'd have a front line, but everyone will make sure we
Um,
get through. And everyone was
yeah,
okay with it.
that's
But
good.
Dante came out, saw me with my helmet. He's like, "Whoa!" But he's a very
Awesome.
soft-spoken guy. If he's
Mm-hmm.
excited, it's a very subtle silence, but
Mm-hmm.
he's and I told him, like, Zuko is kind of a very beautiful story and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "I appreciate that." And it took a lot to, because he says, he's like, people were very, very cruel about Zuko in the first
Yeah.
season
Mm-hmm.
until the episode that talks about why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
And he's like, it was kind of almost like wanting to turn down the job that people
Mm-hmm.
were just those first episodes. You're like, can
Mm-hmm.
anyone love this character?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yes, okay, so they can. Like, so, but yeah, Dante Bosco. I see, and I want more because I want to hear Dante Bosco.
No, exactly. We have
Yeah.
to do that. So,
What do you think, buddy? What do you
what do you
think?
think?
Huh? What do
Oh,
you think? You just watching Daddy's screen?
mm-hmm. Just watching it. All right. So, let me
Yeah.
see.
Any
Any?
questions on your end?
Nope. I think that wraps up all of my questions, all my thoughts. Hopefully, we get a third arc here soon. That'd be really, really exciting. So, let's see.
Yep. I've got all my questions done and all my witty notes. So
Awesome. I'll just want to say thank you so much for joining, tackling this last season. Hopefully, not the final season of The Dragon Prince. And
hopefully not, right, buddy?
yes.
We need something to watch together when you get older. Yes.
Oh, it'd be so cute. So, all right, just gonna go and close out here. So, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, follow our lovely guest on all of his socials and all that good
Yes.
stuff.
You can find me at Spartan923 on Threads and Instagram. Uh, and also Spartan923 Gaming on Twitch and Spartan923 Gaming VODS on YouTube. All of our videos since day one are on YouTube in the VODS doc, and we stream Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Subject to change sometimes. So we have 2 Let's Play nights and a team up night on Thursday. So feel free to stop in, have a chat. It's pretty casually going. I will warn you, it is put at 18 plus because we swear a lot. So
Mm.
just to warn you, it's not really a channel for kids. If your kids find my channel and start watching it, it's not my fault.
So,
Be good parents.
exactly. Yes.
And sometimes we have Mr. Grumbles here, since I
Mr.
don't have a camera, come up and
Grumbles.
mess with my microphone when I'm on stream. So you may
Mhm.
hear this cute guy being
So cute.
adorable on the stream sometime. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's all from me. And if you're ever on a con floor in center states in Missouri or so, you may see me out there. Dark Wolf cosplay or Spark 923 cosplay, depending if I'm going to rebrand or not. I'm usually in Master Chief armor, Crow from Ruby, or in Mandalorian armor. So keep your eyes out for me on there, and I hope to see you on the con floor sometime. And feel free to come up and say hi. I am always happy to see it. Just don't grab anything. Just tap me on the shoulder and or tap my handler. They will turn me around, and I'll be more than happy to spend hours talking to you if you want. So. And I might even have this little guy with me. Who
Little
knows?
Mr. Chief. You should dress him up as Yoda. And then
We were
randomly.
thinking that.
Were
We were thinking
you?
that.
Oh, it'd be so
Baby
cute.
Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
Yes, Baby Yoda. You little Grogu, yes. But that's all from me.
That's all
So
for you, and that's all for me. So thank you all again for watching. We hope everyone's taking care, staying safe, and we'll see you in the next
until the
episode.
next time, guys, I hope to be back on this. These guys are
Yes.
awesome. I love working with the demon interviews. They're awesome.
Dragon
And I jokingly say whenever they bring me on here, they always risk getting canceled. But this time I behaved myself very well.
You're very well behaved, so you're good.
I did one thing kind of controversial, but I saved myself. So, but anyway, goodbye, folks. Take it easy.
Bye, everyone. Bye, bye.
Goodbye.
1 second.